Chapter 3444. Goose Santong said, "It's that woman, the woman who wants to marry me. She probably can't wait any longer and is rushing me to complete the marriage." "Oh, someone from the Shadowless clan? That's good. I want to see who is so bold as to covet the Void Emperor's secret technique inheritance." A cold glint appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. To be honest, he was furious. Goose Santong was his friend, and he could not accept the fact that the other party dared to scheme against his friend. Moreover, he came from the true spirit world, and the Void Emperor was the emperor of the true spirit world. Lin Xian was naturally displeased that the other worlds were trying to take advantage of their world. Therefore, he wanted to see what the Shadowless clan was capable of to be so arrogant. "Brother Lin, what do you mean?" Goose Santong looked at Lin Xian in surprise. Lin Xian smiled. "Didn't he want to see you? Let's meet then. Don't worry, with me here, I won't let the Gu clan's inheritance leak out." Good. Goose Santong was also excited, and hope returned to his eyes. He knew that Lin Xian was very strong now, and he seemed to have a powerful force behind him. If Lin Xian could help, it would be best. He said, "Hero, I know we are friends, but if we fight, the implications will be too great. However, if you can really help me get out of this marriage, I can give you a scroll of our Gu clan's ancient scripture as a reward." Hearing this, Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. That was the ancient scripture of the Emperor clan. However, he quickly said, "Isn't the Gu clan's inheritance not allowed to be leaked? You're violating the clan rules." Goose Santong said, "Don't worry, I won't violate the clan rules. The core of our Gu clan is the Void ancient scripture created by the Void Emperor. I've only touched the surface, and I'm not even qualified to touch the core. Therefore, I can't leak it." Of course, other than the Void Emperor, our Gu clan also gave birth to countless saints. They also created countless secret techniques and mystiques based on the Void ancient scripture. Of course, these were also very precious divine abilities and secret techniques. Normally, the Gu family would not leak this information to outsiders. However, there were exceptions. For example, if the Gu clan is indebted to someone, we will give them a divine ability as a form of gratitude. This had happened 3 times in the history of the family. Therefore, I'm not breaking the family's rules by giving you an ancient scripture divine ability. So that was the case. Lin Xian understood. Although it was not the Void scripture, it was the most crucial secret technique. However, it was also a divine ability created by a saint expert of the Gu clan. Its power was also extremely terrifying. Moreover, what the Gu family gave him must have something to do with spatial magic. Space mystiques were extremely powerful mystiques, so how could Lin Xian not be excited? One had to know that the Shadowless clan was aiming for these secret arts. Lin Xian rejoiced inwardly. This kind of ancient scripture was not passed down to outsiders. In history, the Gu family had only passed it down to their benefactors 3 times. Perhaps this would be the 4th time for Lin Xian. This was an extremely rare opportunity, so Lin Xian said, "Don't worry, with me here, I won't let the Shadowless clan succeed." The Celestial Linxian Pavilion was a very famous holy land on the Great Yen planet. The Celestial Linxian Pavilion was a building built by intersecting 3 top-grade spirit veins. The spiritual energy was very rich. There were even heaven and earth anomalies. It could be said that it was a place that all powerhouses on the Great Yen planet dreamed of. However, those who were able to come here were all extraordinary. Other than the peerless experts, only the top clans and sects were able to come here. Outside the Celestial Linxian Pavilion stood 2 young figures. They were Lin Xian and Gu Santong. The 2 of them discussed for a while and decided to go. The person stopped. A cold voice came from inside the Celestial Linxian Pavilion. The surrounding sword chi formed illusions of an azure dragon and a white tiger. These were all extremely terrifying techniques and arrays. If there were any strange movements, they would instantly kill the person. Even a saint would not dare to act wildly here. Lin Xian and Yi Zichen stopped. An old man's face appeared from within, looking down at the 2 of them condescendingly. This was the Celestial Linxian Pavilion. Not just anyone could enter. Do you too have an identity jade token? Ordinary people could not come to such a place. Even some saints could not come. Unless you had a reputation that resounded throughout the entire star realm, or you were recommended by a top family and had an identity jade token, you could enter. I'm here to see Hua Feiyu of the Shadowless clan. As he spoke, Gu Santong took out a token. It was the token that the middle-aged man had given him. The old face in front carefully stared at the token and then nodded. Gentlemen, please. As he spoke, the array in front of them split open. Countless rays of light flashed, forming a colorful passage. The two of them strode in. After entering, even Lin Xian exclaimed. He had to admit that the layout of the celestial Lin Xian pavilion was exquisite. The array around it was of the world level. Even a saint would not dare to act wildly here. More importantly, there were 3 supreme-grade spiritual veins gathered together. The pure energy they emitted shocked him greatly. They really knew how to enjoy life. He did not expect the Great Yen planet to have such a supreme-grade place. If he could cultivate here all year round, the efficiency would be frighteningly high. In addition, the guards and deacons inside were all half-sages. There were even saints. The standard was so high that it was shocking. After Lin Xian entered, he was led in by a half-sage deacon. After walking for about half an hour, they came to the front. In front of them was a very majestic palace. The buildings were engraved with Tao patterns. They were densely packed with the mysterious power of heaven and earth. This was the work of a saint. At this moment, there was a jade platform in front of the palace. Similarly, it was formed with patterns of Tao patterns. On one side of the jade platform sat a woman in a pink dress. She sat there, her hair hanging down to her waist. At this moment, she stretched out her slender hands and was cutting flowers. She was not cutting ordinary flowers, but spirit flowers around 7,000 years old. Lin Xian recognized them at a glance. They were called Peace Bloom. They had a strong effect on the growth of one's soul. Smelling the fragrance of these flowers could unknowingly increase one's soul power. It was very precious. On the vase engraved with Tao patterns, there were several bouquets of Peace Bloom. They were all around 7,000 years old. At this moment, the woman in pink was holding a palm-sized dragon scissors and carefully cutting the flowers. She looked very leisurely. However, Lin Xian could tell that she was cultivating. Every movement seemed casual, but it carried the Tao of heaven and earth. Chapter 30, 445. She was cultivating, which meant that she was a saint. She was comprehending the laws of heaven and earth. This woman should be Gu Santong's fiancée, the little princess of the Shadowless clan, Hua Feiyu. After Lin Xian and Gu Santong arrived, the deacon who had led them left. In the hall, other than the two of them, there was only Hua Feiyu, who was still cutting flowers. A middle-aged man stood in the distance. It was the man who had met Gu Santong before. At this moment, he had a long sword hanging from his waist. His aura was faint, but it was obvious that he was constantly watching the situation inside. If there was any movement, he would intervene. Gu Santong frowned slightly. He was already here, but the other party did not seem to have any intention of paying attention to him. This made him a little angry. He was about to open his mouth to say something, but Lin Xian gently pulled him back, stopping him. At the same time, Lin Xian transmitted a message to him, telling him not to rush. Let's see what she is up to. After Gu Santong heard the message, he calmed down. With Lin Xian by his side, he was not as uneasy as before. The two of them waited like this for 7 days and 7 nights. During this time, no one moved. Only Hua Feiyu, who was in front, continued to cut flowers. Finally, on the 8th day, when the sun rose, Hua Feiyu let go of the dragon sword in her hand. She raised her head, a strange light in her eyes. Santong, you're here. This time, you're not the same as before. I didn't expect you to be able to wait for so long. Gu Santong snorted coldly and did not say anything. However, he was very unhappy. He had been here for a long time and had waited for 7 days and 7 nights. This damned woman, she was obviously trying to show him who was the boss. Hua Feiyu was very calm. She glanced at Gu Santong, then back at the peace bloom in front of her. From the beginning to the end, she had not looked at Lin Xian. In her opinion, he was not even worth mentioning. She didn't even care much about Gu Santong. If it weren't for his identity and the fact that he had inherited the martial technique, she probably wouldn't even spare him a glance. There is still a month before our wedding. You should go back and prepare for it. My Shadowless clan is a peak family of the Grand Spill Planet. Your Gu clan must not disgrace our Shadowless clan. Wedding? Gu Santong sneered. Hua Feiyu, you think too highly of yourself. Don't think that I don't know what your family is planning. Today, I can tell you clearly that I will not marry you. After he finished speaking, the middle-aged man in the distance was stunned, and then his face instantly sank. As for Hua Feiyu, she also stopped what she was doing. She once again raised her hand as her voice became ice-cold. I can take that as a joke, and I didn't hear it. Now go back and prepare for the wedding. Are you deaf? I said, I will not marry you. Gu Santong roared again. His voice was like a clap of thunder. No. Give me a reason. I won't let your Shadowless clan's scheme succeed. You're too young and hot-headed. You're too reckless. What do you think my Shadowless clan is? You think you can refuse just because you want to? I won't marry you today. What can you do about it? Gu Santong steeled his heart. Hua Feiyu was not angry. Instead, she waved her hand and said to the middle-aged man without looking back. She let him out. When the middle-aged man heard this, he sneered and took out a pagoda. Then, he formed a seal with his palms, and the pagoda continued to grow. Inside the pagoda, there was a figure floating up and down, suspended in midair by the chains of law. It was a youth with delicate features who was suspended in the air. His face was full of fear. Damn it! Gu Santong stood up immediately. You dare kidnap my brother? He was instantly enraged. That's right, this child was Gu Santong's brother. He had followed Gu Santong and his family to the Grand Spill Planet. But he didn't expect that they would kidnap his brother and treat him like this. Gu Santong was instantly enraged. He emitted an extremely terrifying aura, as if he was about to attack. The middle-aged man in the distance sneered when he saw this scene. He took a step forward, and an extremely terrifying law surged out. This caused Gu Santong's expression to change. A mere half-sage did not have the right to be arrogant in front of him. That middle-aged man was a sage. Damn it! Hua Feiyu! What is the meaning of this? Gu Santong glared at the woman in front of him. The black-clothed woman said indifferently, Very simple. Go back obediently, and stay in your family. We'll hold the wedding in a month. If everything goes well, I'll let your brother go. If you and your family do anything unusual, I can guarantee that your younger brother will be destroyed in both body and soul. How dare you? Gu Santong roared like a madman. Hua Feiyu's expression was indifferent. There's nothing to be afraid of. I'll only say this once. If you don't want your brother's life, you're free to do it. This time, Gu Santong didn't say anything else. He immediately made his move. He instantly used the secret space technique to arrive at the bottom of the tower. His speed was extremely fast. It was as if he had opened a space portal. Once he appeared, he was in front of his brother. The great void handprint grabbed at the law chain, wanting to shatter it. Boom! The sound of an intense collision rang out as an extremely terrifying force swept out in all directions. Suddenly, the power of the law exploded. Gu Santong was sent flying. His blood boiled as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Throughout the entire process, the middle-aged man and Hua Feiyu did not move. Seeing this, Hua Feiyu chuckled. I have to say, you're really a piece of trash. If it weren't for your status, do you think I'd marry a piece of trash like you? All right, I'll forgive you this time. Go back obediently. Damn it. You really deserve to die. Gu Santong was so angry that his eyes turned red and his body trembled. He hated himself for being so weak. If he was a saint, then he would have been able to save her brother just now. But now, not only did he not succeed in saving her brother, he was injured by that force. He was a joke to others. Go back. Why should I go back? At this moment, a voice rang out. At the same time, A hand was placed on Gu Santong's shoulder. Gu Santong was stunned. He felt a warm force coming from his body. He turned to look at Lin Xian. A glimmer of hope returned to his eyes. In front of him, Hua Feiyu also frowned. She looked at Lin Xian. "I'm talking to your master. Is there a place for a servant like you to speak? Open your mouth." Hua Feiyu was very angry. To be honest, she didn't even like Gu Santong, let alone the person Gu Santong brought. In her opinion, the person Gu Santong brought could not be much of a person. At most, he was a servant of the Gu family. Moreover, from the beginning to the end, she did not feel any powerful aura from him. Now, even Gu Santong did not dare to refute her. A servant dared to refute her will. This was an act of suicide. Chapter 3446.
1.
Hearing Hua Feiyu's words, the middle-aged man waved his hand. In the sky, countless laws formed a hand of laws and slapped towards Lin Xian. This was the power of the laws of heaven and earth. It was extremely terrifying. Not to mention a slap, this attack could turn someone into a bloody mist. Feeling the power of this palm, Gu Santong's face changed instantly. It was too terrifying. He could not even breathe. "Oh no, Brother Lin, dodge." He wanted to explain Lin Xian's identity, but it was too late. At the same time, he was extremely worried. Although he knew that Lin Xian was very powerful, he had never seen Lin Xian's true strength. The last time they met, it was the woman beside Lin Xian who attacked. This time, they did not bring the woman with them. Therefore, he was not sure if Lin Xian could withstand the attack of a saint. In fact, he subconsciously felt that he could not withstand it. That was why she shouted so loudly. "Humph, what an idiot." Seeing this, Hua Feiyu shook her head and laughed coldly. Even Gu Santong could not withstand this attack, let alone a servant of the Gu family. The middle-aged saint who attacked also smiled coldly. "Fine, let's kill this ant. Let's see if Gu Santong still dares to behave atrociously in front of us in the future." The only one who was calm was Lin Xian. He looked at the sword of laws descending from the sky with a calm expression. In the next moment, he stretched out his hand and grabbed upwards. Previously, Lin Xian did not make a move. This was because he felt that the time was not right. But later, the other party not only threatened Gu Santong, but also captured Gu Santong's younger brother. They even wanted to kill him. At this moment, Lin Xian moved.
Boom.
On Lin Xian's palm, balls of golden Dao patterns appeared. Like burning golden flames, they reached out to grab the space in front of them. This power caused Gu Santong to be stunned once again. He kept retreating because the power of this palm was too terrifying. The entire void instantly sank. This scene was very strange. It was as if the entire space had stopped. Only the two palms were moving continuously.
Boom.
When the two palms collided, there was the sound of thousands of thunderbolts descending. Countless large cracks spread between heaven and earth as the terrifying energy formed one black hole after another. What was even more frightening was that the palm of law in the sky had been smashed into pieces. Not only that, but the middle-aged saint who had attacked also retreated continuously. His palm was bleeding, and his entire arm was trembling nonstop. Then, it exploded and turned into a bloody mist. In fact, when Gu Santong had made his move, the guards of the Celestial Linxian Pavilion had already gathered here. However, they saw that it was Hua Feiyu from the Shadowless clan. He did not make a move, nor did he move too far away. Later on, when they saw Lin Xian make a move, they also looked at him with disdain. However, the scene before them had truly stunned them. A saint was instantly injured. Furthermore, he had been lightly struck by the other party's palm. This was too inconceivable. Gu Santong's eyes widened in disbelief. He knew that Lin Xian was very powerful, but he did not expect Lin Xian to be so powerful. The fact that a saint's attack had been so easily broken meant that Lin Xian was at least a saint, or at least had the combat strength of a saint. There was another person who was shocked. That person was Hua Feiyu. At this moment, the flood dragon scissors in her hand fell onto the white jade bracelet again, making a clanging sound. However, she did not notice it at all. Her beautiful eyes were wide open. How could this be? Shadowless upper spirit was injured. This was too unbelievable. One had to know that the middle-aged man she had brought along was a First Heaven Sage, and a middle-stage First Heaven Sage. His strength was extremely terrifying. In her opinion, no one from Gu Santong's faction could withstand this attack. However, a young man beside Gu Santong had managed to withstand it. Not only did he withstand it, but he had also injured Shadowless upper spirit. This scene was like a dream, and she felt that it was unreal. Lin Xian retracted his hand, and a smile appeared on his face as he walked forward. In a few steps, he arrived in front of the white jade platform. Then, he picked up a peace bloom flower and sniffed it. Then, he said calmly, "How dare you be so arrogant in front of me with such strength? Seems like you're tired of living." Since Brother Gu said that he does not want to get married, no one can force him. Lin Xian's voice was not loud, but it was unquestionable.
"Who are you?"
Hua Feiyu finally regained her senses. She looked at the young man who was very close to her and was extremely shocked. Until now, she had not figured out his strength. It was too strange. He was unfathomable. "You don't deserve to know who I am. All you need to know is that from now on, this brother of mine will no longer be threatened by your family. Moreover, no one can threaten him. Damn kid, you're courting death." The middle-aged man, Shadowless upper spirit, roared crazily behind him. He was actually injured by a brat. This was something he could not accept. Moreover, Lin Xian was being so arrogant. No one can threaten the Shadowless tribe. In the next moment, he roared and threw his palm at Lin Xian again. This time around, his palm became extremely strange. There were simply no traces of it at all. Thus, no one knew where it would appear from. This was the specialty of the Shadowless tribe. It was similar to the void technique. However, Lin Xian did not care. A golden light appeared in his eyes. Then, with a slight tap of his foot, his body moved away in an instant. At the place where he had been standing, a terrifying giant palm appeared and tore the void apart.
"What?"
He dodged it? That's impossible. Shadowless upper spirit screamed. How could Lin Xian have dodged his shadowless palm? The shadowless palm could disappear without a trace. Did Lin Xian notice it in advance? He could not believe it. Hua Feiyu was also stunned. She said coldly, "I don't know who you are, nor do I know your relationship with Gu Santong. But let me tell you, the Shadowless tribe is not to be trifled with. The Shadowless tribe is the royal tribe of the 10,000 Archean tribes. Even in the Great Yen planet, we are one of the top tribes. Are you sure you want to start a war with the Shadowless tribe? Not to mention the entire tribe, just the top prodigy of the Shadowless Pillar is not someone you can fight against." Hua Feiyu's eyes were full of arrogance. Lin Xian smiled. "Oh, who is the prodigy of the Shadowless tribe? I've never heard of him. Then I can only say that you're ignorant." Hua Feiyu snorted. His eyes were full of arrogance. The top prodigy of the Shadowless tribe is called Shadowless Chen. Chapter 3447. Even on the Starry Sky Ancient Road, he was a famous elite prodigy. And he had just broken through recently. There were not many people in the younger generation who were his match. So, he was so powerful, as if he was invincible. But why have I never heard of him on the Starry Sky Ancient Road? Lin Xian had never heard of the name Wu Yingchen. What do you know? Wu Yingchen was now a saint, and a very young one at that. In the Heaven Punisher, there were less than 5 people in the younger generation who could defeat him. Pfft, what was there to be arrogant about? There were still people who could defeat him. Gu Santong sneered when he heard this. Hua Feiyu showed a trace of disdain. "Gu Santong, you are an idiot. You don't know what this means. Let me tell you, who can be compared to the prodigies of the Shadowless tribe. The first is the successor of the great emperor, Yan Nantian. I think you are familiar with this name, because I have investigated. Yan Nantian, and you are from the same Starry Sky Ancient Road. You are only a half-saint, but Yan Nantian is different. Although he is a half-saint, rumor has it that Yan Nantian has killed more than one sage. And he has the inheritance of the great emperor. He is so powerful that no one can defeat him. The second is the famous Little Sword Saint. He has comprehended the law of the sword, which also shocked some sages. The third is Di Ling. The number one on the Abyss leaderboard was very mysterious. Although he did not attack often, every attack was earth-shattering. The fourth is called An 13. He was a top young assassin of the Dark Moon Palace. Although his reputation wasn't as great as Yulingzi's, his strength was much stronger than Yulingzi's. Because he was a saint-level assassin, he could become an assassin saint. Hua Feiyu said the names of the 4 people in a row, and then shook his white jade-like finger. Only they are qualified to be compared to the prodigy of the Shadowless tribe, Wu Chen. For people, didn't you say there was one more? Looks like you were just bragging. Gu Santong sneered. Hua Feiyu said coldly. Of course, there is one more person. He is the number 1 on the Abyss leaderboard and also the number 1 on the Vermilion Bird leaderboard. He defeated Yan Nantian. He was called Lin Wudi. However, I reckon that he's already dead. Because right now, countless experts and saints from all over the universe want to kill him. He definitely won't be able to survive. Lin Wudi. Gu Santong's heart raced. He had defeated Yan Nantian, and his surname was Lin Xian. He could not help but look at Lin Xian. Could that Lin Wudi be the Lin Xian beside him? He wasn't sure. Because recently, he really didn't care much about the outside world. However, in his opinion, it shouldn't be possible. Hua Feiyu spoke again. Only these 5 people are qualified to compete with the top geniuses of the Shadowless clan. What about you? Who are you? Are you Yan Nantian or Di Ling? At this point, her eyes were filled with mockery. He was a young man. Although he was very powerful, so what? Daring to go against the Shadowless clan, they must be tired of living. You know quite a lot. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. It was as if he did not care about these rumors at all. This smile made Hua Feiyu extremely unhappy. What was he pretending for? However, suddenly, her heart skipped a beat. Wait, she remembered that Gu Santong had just called him Brother Lin. That meant that his surname was Lin. Moreover, other than the Gu family, Gu Santong should not have many friends. However, this person in front of her was willing to stand up for Gu Santong. That meant that the 2 of them were very likely from the same world. According to her investigation, Yan Nantian and Gu Santong were from the same world. Other than that, there was another person, and that was Lin Wudi. Lin Wudi and Yan Nantian were also from the same world. And this person in front of her was surnamed Lin. Could it be that this person was him? She had a thought in her mind, but this thought struck her like lightning. She did not dare to believe it. That's impossible. Why would he come here? Wasn't he being chased by countless sages? However, when she saw Lin Xian's confident smile, she felt a chill run down her spine. She knew that she had guessed correctly. This person was that person. However, before she could say anything, the middle-aged sage, Shadowless Upper Spirit, said coldly, "Sis, don't waste your time with them. I'll kill this kid now. I was careless just now. Now, I'll use all my strength." Having said that, he roared angrily. His entire body became illusory, and lines of blood-red runes appeared on his body. That was the power of the bloodline. It was obvious that Shadowless Upper Spirit was going to use his ultimate move. Shadowless Slash. This was indeed the ultimate move of the Shadowless tribe. With a slash, he could even kill someone who was more powerful than him. Now that he had used all his strength, he did not believe that Lin Xian could withstand it. "No, you can't do it," Hua Feiyu screamed. She had already guessed the identity of the person in front of her. Making a move against such a person was simply courting death. However, she did not have time to warn Lin Xian. Shadowless Upper Spirit had already made his move. Lin Xian's face darkened. "Since you want to die, I'll grant you your wish." Golden runes appeared on his palm, and the 5 elements' divine chains circled around them. His entire palm carried a terrifying wave of energy, as if it had turned into a giant dragon and rushed out. In an instant, the entire space exploded. The surrounding array flickered and even started to fluctuate. This wave of energy was so powerful that Gu Santong and Hua Feiyu were forced to retreat. The faces of the guards in the distance changed drastically as well. However, the saint-level formation was actually showing signs of shattering at this moment. Who was the person who attacked them? This power was so terrifying that it alarmed everyone in the Celestial Advent Pavilion. When the elites rushed over, they were all stunned. They saw the sage blood in the sky being destroyed by a giant palm that was as big as a 5 elements mountain. The miserable cries sent chills down their spines. Finally, it disappeared into the sky. These people were crazy. What did they just see? Someone destroyed the sage blood. Someone killed a sage. And it happened in the blink of an eye. Who was this person? He was the god of death. Originally, the Celestial Advent Pavilion had a rule that no one was allowed to fight. Otherwise, they would kill that person. But now, they did not dare to do anything. Gu Santong was also stunned. Was he dead? A saint-level expert was killed just like that? Hua Feiyu's heart raced, and her body trembled. That's right, it was him. It must be him. It was because of him that he had such strength. The elites in the Celestial Advent Pavilion were also stunned. They even wanted to turn around and run. The entire space was eerily silent. As expected of the Peace Bloom flower, it could increase one's soul power. Lin Xian said calmly. He inserted the flower in his hand into Hua Feiyu's hair. Chapter 30:448. Hua Feiyu trembled in fear and did not dare to resist. Her heart was filled with fear. She was afraid that the other party would attack. Although she was also a sage, she was only at the first level of the first heaven. Even a mid-stage first heaven sage was instantly killed by the other party. How could she be a match for him? If the other party attacked at this time, she would not be able to escape death. She opened her cherry lips and wanted to say something, but she could not make a sound. It was as if the Grim Reaper had grabbed her by the neck. At this time, a sage from the Celestial Advent Pavilion spoke. He said in a low voice, "Who are you?" Lin Xian did not pay attention to the sage. Instead, he looked at Hua Feiyu with a faint smile. "Now, you should know who I am, right?" Hua Feiyu swallowed her saliva with difficulty. Although Lin Xian was not emitting any terrifying aura now, she could not breathe. However, she couldn't breathe anymore. She would be an idiot if she still didn't know who the other party was. "Lin Wudi, you are Lin Wudi." Her voice was filled with endless fear and trembling. "What, Lin Wudi's?" The surrounding experts and sages from the Celestial Advent Pavilion were also stunned. They were not unfamiliar with this name, because Lin Wudi had long been famous on the ancient road of the stars. First, he defeated Yan Nantian and then stirred up a storm in the void ocean. Now, countless experts were looking for him, but they did not expect that he would be here. He had appeared in the Great Yen planet, and the moment he appeared, he had killed a sage. These people felt their scalps go numb. Fortunately, they did not rush forward rashly. Otherwise, they would be dead now. These people were filled with shock and fear. They did not dare to go forward. Many of them even took a few steps back. Su Chen stretched out a finger and gently flicked it. A ray of sword chi shattered the chains of law on the tower in front of him. Then he said, "Santong, take your brother away. Leave this to me." Okay. Goose Santong nodded. He already knew that Lin Xian was very powerful. These people would definitely not dare to attack, so he did not hesitate and went forward to save his brother. Then he brought him out. When he left the spiritual celestial pavilion, Gu Santong's heart was filled with shock. He had never thought that Lin Xian would have such a reputation. Just his name alone was enough to make the people around him not dare to make a move. It was easy to imagine what Lin Xian had gone through before. The two of them were friends, and even though there was a difference in their strength, he didn't think that it would be too much of a difference. But now, he could only laugh bitterly. He was still a half-sage, while Lin Xian had become a sage. Moreover, his name shook the 10,000 realms. Those older generation experts all acknowledged allegiance to him. The difference was too great. However, he was not jealous. All he had was determination. He had to move forward on the path of martial arts. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath and flew into the distance. In the distance, the elders of the Gu clan were already waiting. They were very worried about Gu Santong's safety. When they saw Gu Santong come out, they heaved a sigh of relief. They had asked, "Did he not come out?" Sure enough, Gu Santong recounted everything that had happened. When the elders of the Gu clan heard it, they all gasped in shock. Heavens, Lin Gongzi was Lin Wudi. It really was him. I should have guessed it. Many elders were shocked. However, Gu Santong said that although Brother Lin was Lin Wudi and was very powerful and could intimidate these people, the Shadow clan was definitely the top clan. But the Shadowless clan is definitely one of the top clans. If there really is a conflict, I'm afraid Brother Lin won't be able to resist. Young master, don't worry about this. If it was anyone else, they might not be able to handle it. But Lin Wudi could definitely do it. Even an existence like the Vermilion Bird Palace was unable to kill him, not to mention the Shadowless clan. Moreover, there were many factions and families that wanted to kill Lin Wudi, but he was still alive and well. Moreover, those who dared to provoke Lin Wudi all had terrible endings. If the Shadowless clan really dared to go against Lin Wudi, they would probably suffer heavy losses. Those elders were all very excited. They had heard all kinds of legends about Lin Wudi. Now that they knew it was Lin Wudi, they were very excited. Seeing their elders so excited, Gu Santong was even more shocked. It seemed that he had underestimated Lin Xian's reputation. Previously, their elders were very afraid of the Shadowless clan. But now, it seemed that no one was optimistic about the Shadowless clan. Instead, they were optimistic about Lin Wudi. What kind of strength did he have to be able to make these elders think this way? Gu Santong was extremely shocked. He could not help but turn his head to look at the Ling Xian pavilion in the distance. The pavilion was still silent. Everyone's eyes were on Lin Xian. Lin Xian's eyes were on Hua Feiyu. Hua Feiyu's face was extremely pale. It was as if she was being stared at by a ferocious beast. The blood in her body was about to freeze. Cold sweat dripped from her forehead and streaked across her beautiful face. "What do you want? If you touch me, the Shadowless clan will not let you off." Hua Feiyu could only threaten him. "Did you know? Those who have threatened me are all dead. For example, the great demon and some prodigies that you have heard of." Hearing this, Hua Feiyu's heart thumped. She knew that he was right. Lin Wudi's battle record was like thunder to her ears. If she dared to provoke him, he would definitely kill her with one slap. Although the Shadowless clan was powerful, so what? Which top sect did not want to kill him now? But he was still alive and well, so she knew that threatening him was useless. Hua Feiyu took a deep breath. "Lin Gongzi, I was wrong this time. I apologize to you, and I promise that from now on, I will never have any ideas about Gu Santong. Please spare my life." The surrounding people were all stunned when they saw this scene. They were dumbfounded. What were they seeing? The little princess of the Shadowless clan, the high and mighty queen, was lowering her head to someone at this moment. And she was begging for mercy. This scene was simply like a dream. Su Chen's lips curled into a smile. He knew that Gu Santong's matter had been resolved. He was about to say something, but at this moment, Black Mountain spoke. "Kid, there's something wrong. The girl in front of you is not ordinary. She seems to be hiding something in her body." Hearing Black Mountain's voice transmission, Lin Xian frowned and revealed a trace of surprise. Black Mountain was a supreme sage and had seen many things, so he could naturally see many key problems. Lin Xian said telepathically, "What is it? Could it be the soul imprint of a sage? Something to protect one's life?" he asked. Usually, he knew that top prodigies like this would be planted with a life-saving talisman of their clan's patriarch. However, he was not too concerned about this. It was just a life-saving talisman. It could not do anything to him. However, Heishan told him through voice transmission that he wasn't. Chapter 30, 449. Wasn't it? Lin Xian was stunned. If it wasn't a life-saving talisman, then what was it? It was a soul, a very weak soul. He Shan said telepathically. A remnant soul? Just like you. Lin Xian was surprised. He Shan said, it's not the same. It has an extremely strong death aura. It shouldn't exist in this world. But for some reason, it survived in this woman's body. He Shan sneered. Perhaps even this woman herself doesn't know that there is such a soul in her body. Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes flickered. There's such a thing? He asked. What does that have to do with us? Just kill this woman. No, I'm very curious. Who is it that came up with such a method? Kid, although I promise to assist you by your side, I also want to be resurrected one day. So, I'm very interested in this method. Although I may not do it, maybe I can get some inspiration from it. I understand. Lin Chen nodded. A cold light appeared in his eyes. You can take action and grab the soul out. Okay, but help me cover it up. He Shan said telepathically. Hearing this, Lin Xian stretched out his palm. A black aura appeared on it, like a ghost. It was very scary. He grabbed Hua Feiyu. Hua Feiyu screamed like crazy, her face full of horror. Is he going to kill me? Is he really going to do it?
No.
Please spare my life, she screamed. The people around were also stunned. If they killed Hua Feiyu, they would definitely start a war with the Shadowless clan. Lin Wudi is really strong, but soon they were stunned. Hua Feiyu was also stunned. She saw the black palm pass through her body, but she was not injured. What's going on? She widened her beautiful eyes. The next moment, her whole body trembled because she found that the black palm was being pulled out of her body. At the same time, a black shadow came out. It was a very strange black shadow. It seemed that the latter wanted to return to her body. What's going on? Hua Feiyu was stunned. Why is there such a shadow in my body? This was too unbelievable. While she was in a daze, the black shadow suddenly let out a miserable shriek.
Whoosh.
After that, the entire space darkened as if it had turned into hell. Ghostly wails and howls could be heard all around. The terrifying aura made the surrounding sages' scalps go numb. What happened? Everyone in the Celestial Lin Pavilion was stunned. Many of them were trembling in fear. Hua Feiyu was even more stunned. Lin Xian sneered as he activated his great dragon sword soul. Sharp sword chi pierced out in all directions. Immediately, the miserable cries became even more terrifying. Hua Feiyu also revealed a pained expression. Half of the black shadow's body had left, and there was still a pair of legs inside her body. However, at this moment, a few Dao patterns suddenly lit up on her body and formed an array formation. She firmly locked onto the black shadow and seemed to want to stop it from escaping. Not only that, but Hua Feiyu's bloodline power was also activated out of nowhere. Hua Feiyu was stunned. He did not move at all. It was all controlled by someone else. What was going on? The black shadow in her body was actually able to control her bloodline power. Soul-locking array? He Shan sneered, not caring at all. He did not care about a mere soul-locking array. The black claw slapped a few times, and all of them were aimed at the vital points of the soul-locking array. When Lin Xian saw this, he immediately unleashed his dragon-shaped sword Qi and shattered those vital points. With a crack, the entire soul-locking array was shattered into pieces. Hua Feiyu's body trembled as the black shadow was completely pulled out. Roar! Between heaven and earth, an extremely terrifying roar rang out. Then, the black shadow rushed out of the Celestial Lin Pavilion, wanting to escape. However, how could Lin Xian let it escape? Countless dragon-shaped sword Qi intertwined to form a dragon sword sacred realm, completely sealing off all the space. The black shadow crashed into the sword Qi and let out a miserable cry. It quickly retreated, its face full of fear. These sword Qis were capable of annihilating everything. There was no way this soul could escape. At this moment, He Shan also moved. Soul sealing seal. Between heaven and earth, countless Dao inscriptions formed a seal and shrouded the black soul. The soul wanted to resist, but after being slashed a few times by the sword Qi, it became extremely weak and was finally sealed. Did you succeed? Lin Xian asked through telepathy. He Shan nodded and smiled, but soon she frowned. Wait a moment, kid, chase all the people around out. Hearing this, Lin Xian was stunned. Then, he snorted coldly, get lost if you don't want to die. The sword Qi circled around, and all the people around it retreated. Even the sages felt their scalps go numb as they were pushed outside. Lin Xian took out an array and directly shrouded the entire space. In the next moment he asked, "What's wrong?" "It's not over yet. It's more complicated than I thought." As she spoke, He Shan looked at Hua Feiyu. Xian also looked over. At this moment, Hua Feiyu was already sitting on the ground. Her face became extremely pale. She was stunned by the scene that had just unfolded. Now, she felt Lin Xian's gaze, and suddenly her body trembled. She didn't know what he was going to do. At this moment, He Shan telepathically said, "Kid, do as I say." Then, Lin Xian heard He Shan's telepathic message. He was stunned, but soon, a cold look appeared in his eyes. With a wave of his hand, he directly shot out the 9 suns' divine fire and enveloped Hua Feiyu. Hua Feiyu was burned by the flames and immediately screamed, but she couldn't escape at all. Lin Xian's palm firmly enveloped her. "Don't worry, I won't kill you. Don't fight. There are some things on you that I have to figure out." "Figure out? What do you mean?" Hua Feiyu realized that the robe and armor on her body had all melted under the strange flames. She appeared in front of him like a newborn baby, which made her ears turn red. She had never faced a man like that. Lin Xian didn't have any abnormalities. He continued to activate the 9 suns' divine fire. Gradually, he realized that Hua Feiyu's body was changing again. Mysterious veined patterns appeared one after another. They were all Dao veins that were densely packed and crawled all over his body. Not only that, the shadow under Hua Feiyu's feet seemed to be twisting in pain. This scene made Lin Xian's hair stand. Hua Feiyu was terrified, but she didn't know what was happening. Lin Xian saw that the Dao patterns on Hua Feiyu's body, when combined, looked like a ghost head, using the soul to raise the corpse. "It's such a method," He Shan exclaimed, as if he didn't expect this to happen. Chapter 30, 450. What was going on? Lin Xian asked. Hua Feiyu was also stunned. She had never thought that there would be such a thing hidden in her body. He Shan said that this little girl was just a sacrifice, using her body to raise another person. Moreover, the Dao patterns on her body and this method made me think of an ancient legend. Ancient legend? What was that? Reincarnation. Reincarnation. Lin Xian was shocked. There was such a saying that after one died in battle, one would enter the 6 paths of reincarnation. Then, one would live in this world with a new life. And martial artists cultivated to escape this kind of reincarnation. There were 5 swords in the world, other than the Great Dragon Sword and the Heavenly Punishment Sword. There was another one called the Reincarnation Sword. It was said that it was related to the 6 paths of reincarnation. The Reincarnation Sword. Lin Xian was shocked. Suddenly, he felt that his heavenly secret divine eyes suddenly released a light. It was as if his eyes were like his heart, beating rapidly. What was going on? Lin Xian was shocked. The heavenly secret divine eyes had a reaction? Could it be related to the thing on Hua Feiyu's body? He did not know, but he was even more interested. It seemed that even if he did not help He Shan, he would have to study it himself. Then who was this person who wanted to be revived? Lin Xian said again. He glanced at Hua Feiyu. Hua Feiyu was still in great shock. He Shan said that he was not sure, but it seemed that even the bloodline power had been activated. It was very likely that it was the ancestor of the Shadowless clan. Or it was related to the Shadowless clan. Ancestor. This time, Hua Feiyu came back to her senses and screamed. Her face became extremely pale, as if she had thought of something. What did you think of? Tell me, and I will spare your life. Lin Xian said coldly. I remember that when I was 5 years old, I was taught by the grand elder of the clan to go to the ancestral land of the Shadowless clan every month to pay respects. Every time I went there, I would fall asleep, and when I came back, I would wake up 3 days later. How long did this go on for? Hua Fei thought for a moment, and then said, until now it was not every month but every year. He Shan snorted coldly. It seemed like his guess was right. It was an old ancestor of the Shadowless clan who wanted to reincarnate. Was the patriarch resurrected? Hua Fei was also surprised. Then, a fiery light appeared in his eyes. When He Shan saw this, he sneered. It was foolish of you to think it was a good thing. After your ancestor revives, you will die and never fall into the cycle of reincarnation. You won't even have the chance to reincarnate. Do you still think this is a good opportunity? What? Hua Fei's body shook, his heart falling into a 10,000-year-old ice cave. Would she die? Moreover, his body and soul had been destroyed, and he could not even reincarnate. This wasn't what she wanted. She wanted the Shadowless clan to become stronger. She wanted the Shadowless clan's ancestor to come back to life. But the premise of all this was that she had to be the beneficiary. Now, if she died, then no matter how prosperous and powerful their family was, it would have nothing to do with her. This caused Hua Feiyu to feel a deep sense of fear.
No.
Impossible. Why would the family do this to me? Sacrificing you to revive an ancestor and let the Shadowless clan prosper again. I think anyone would make such a choice. Lin Xian said coldly. No, I don't want to die. Hua Feiyu shook her head. She was only a few hundred years old. With her strength as a sage, she could still live for a few thousand years. Moreover, why should she be sacrificed? Kid, we are your saviors now. If we don't do anything, your yang qi and soul will be sucked dry within 10 years. Moreover, it seems that the one living in your body is only a split soul. The ancestor's corpse is still lying in your ancestral land. I guess your fate has been chosen. It's impossible to resist. There's only death. Do you want us to help you end your life? He Shan's cold voice sounded. Hua Feiyu shook his head. I can't die. I don't want to die. I can escape from the Great Yen planet. Su Chen sneered. Can you escape the Shadowless clan's pursuit? The Shadowless clan's pursuit. Hua Feiyu's strength was instantly sucked dry. She knew how powerful her clan was. With her strength, it was impossible for her to escape. She would be caught before she could even escape from the Great Yen planet. However, she really didn't want to die. In the next moment, she saw Lin Xian.
Plop.
She knelt in front of Lin Xian.
Save me.
As long as you save me, I will be yours from now on. Although this method would make him lose his freedom, it would allow her to live. She completely gave up resisting. From now on, you are my master. You can plant a slave seal in my soul. Seeing this, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. The insufferably arrogant princess of the Shadowless clan, Hua Feiyu, was now at his feet. It was different from before. Previously, she had lowered her head and admitted her mistake. But now, she was kneeling at his feet and had become his slave. However, Lin Xian didn't plant a slave seal on her. He said coldly, I won't plant a slave seal on you. However, since you have submitted to me, you can never betray me. If you dare to betray me, even if you escape to the ends of the earth or the borders of the universe, I will catch you and tear you to pieces. I, Lin Xian, am a man of my words. There was a hint of confidence in his eyes. Yes, I definitely wouldn't dare. Hua Feiyu lowered her head deeply. Lin Xian nodded in satisfaction. Then he said, Get up. He released a force. Light appeared on Hua Feiyu's body. A ball of armor appeared and wrapped around her delicate body. Then she asked, Young master, what are your plans next? I am very interested in your ancestor, so I plan to go to the Shadowless clan to take a look. The Shadowless clan's ancestral land? Hua Feiyu's body trembled. Deep fear appeared in her eyes. To be honest, she didn't want to go back in her life because she knew how terrifying that place was. She even hoped that Lin Xian would take her away from the Great Yen planet and go to any world. However, She didn't expect Lin Xian to want to go to the Shadowless clan. She wanted to say something, but when she saw Lin Xian's cold and determined eyes, she knew that she couldn't persuade the man in front of her. So, she could only say, "I understand. Young master, please come with me." Then, Lin Xian removed the array. Then, he followed Hua Feiyu. The two of them left the Spirit Immortal Pavilion and soared into the sky. They flew into the distance. After they left, the people of the Spirit Immortal Pavilion heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, they were very puzzled. What did Lin Xian and Hua Feiyu do in the array? They guessed that they couldn't figure it out. Chapter 30, 451. The Ancestral Land of the Shadowless Clan. This was the forbidden land of the Shadowless Clan. Only a small number of people were allowed to enter. Those who trespassed would be killed without mercy. Hence, there was usually no one here. At this moment, an angry voice suddenly came from the ancestral land. It was as if some huge monster had come back to life. At this moment, the people of the Shadowless clan were all trembling. It was as if something in their souls was making them terrified. The faces of the Shadowless clan's patriarch and several supreme elders instantly changed. What was going on? It seemed that something had happened to the ancestral land. The few people who were in charge of guarding the ancestral land also returned. They were so scared that their faces were pale. Patriarch, something bad has happened. The patriarch of the Shadowless clan's patriarch's face sank. Follow me to the secret room. They entered the secret room and asked, "What's going on?" That person said, "I don't know. It seems that the old patriarch is angry." The old patriarch was angry? What was going on? The patriarch and the supreme elders were stunned. That shouldn't be. The old patriarch had been sleeping all this time. Why would he be angry? Could it be that something had happened? One of the supreme elders had a grave expression. This matter is too important. We should go there personally. All right, they hurried over. Then, the patriarch of the Shadowless clan personally walked in. Although he was the supreme ruler of the clan, he was as respectful as a child in the ancestral land. Trembling, he bowed and asked, "Greetings, old patriarch. May I know what has disturbed you?" There was a huge altar in front of him. Inside the altar, there was a black coffin. The black coffin was covered with Dao runes. There were also countless formations around it. At this moment, a mysterious shadow appeared in the black coffin. The shadow said in a hoarse voice, "Damn it. The soul I planted, the seed of resurrection, was destroyed by someone. Who was it? Find him and cut him into pieces. At the same time, bring back the sacrifice. There can be no accidents." What? The seed was destroyed? The patriarch of the Shadowless clan was shocked. No wonder the old patriarch was so angry. He said, "Don't worry, old patriarch. I'll do it right away." He turned into a ghost and rushed out in an instant. The senior elders outside were all waiting. When they saw that the family head had arrived, they all surrounded him. What had happened? Why was the patriarch so angry? The Shadowless family had frowned. A seed planted by the old ancestor had been destroyed. How could this be? Could it be the seed inside Hua Feiyu's body? But that shouldn't be the case. In our Grand Yen planet, who can threaten Hua Feiyu? He didn't know. Could it be the Gu family? Someone frowned. However, there were also people who sneered. Gu clan. If it was the real Gu family, they might be very powerful and be able to discover the secret. However, the current Gu family is merely a branch. They are even inferior to us. How could they possibly discover the secret of our ancestor? Then there is only one other possibility. That is that some peerless powerhouse of the universe has arrived at our grand spill planet. Perhaps he had met Hua Feiyu. No, we have to find him quickly and bring Hua Feiyu back safely. After the discussion, the Shadowless family asked coldly, "Where is Hua Feiyu?" Suddenly, a figure appeared beside him and knelt on one knee. At the Celestial Lin Xian Pavilion. Send someone to the Celestial Lin Pavilion to find out what happened. Also, summon Hua Feiyu back.
Yes.
The Shadowless family was on the move. After all, this matter was related to their ancestor. They couldn't help but be nervous. At the same time, the Supreme Elder's eyes flashed. Who was it that could discover the secret of their ancestor? No matter who this person was, they had to get rid of him. Otherwise, their Shadowless family would be in big trouble. On the other side, Lin Xian and Hua Feiyu left the Celestial Spirit Pavilion and quickly flew towards the Shadowless family. Along the way, Hua Feiyu led the way while Lin Xian didn't say a word. In fact, he was communicating with He Shan using his soul. Kid, be careful. We killed a wisp of his soul. Maybe that existence already knows. Lin Xian said, I'm not worried about anything else. I can handle it. However, if that old guy really revives, I'm afraid I won't be able to handle it. At that time, it'll be up to you. Don't worry. As long as he's not a great emperor, I don't care about anything else. He Shan sneered. Indeed, he was a great sage when he was alive. He was second only to a great emperor. Therefore, even if there was an old immortal in the Shadowless family, he wouldn't be afraid. Moreover, according to He Shan's analysis, that person should have died long ago. It was just that he used some method to come back to life. Therefore, He Shan and Lin Xian wanted to test him this time. They wanted to see what kind of method he had used to escape from the cycle of reincarnation. Although the Shadowless family was a family, it was an overlord in the Great Yen planet. Therefore, the entire Shadowless family was like a vast country. After flying for a long time, they finally arrived at the edge of the Shadowless family. Hua Feiyu turned around and said, Young master, we've arrived at the edge of the family. However, our family's sphere of influence is bigger. It will take a long time to reach the core area. Should I use the family's array to teleport us over? No need. Lin Xian said indifferently. Hua Feiyu was stunned. He thought Lin Xian was going to fly over. However, Lin Xian said that someone had found them. What? Hua Feiyu probed with his soul power. Indeed, in the next moment, he frowned. This was because he realized that there were a few figures flying over quickly from afar. He was familiar with that person. Oh, isn't this Sister Feiyu? Aren't you at the Celestial Inn Pavilion? Why are you here? Great, everyone in the family is looking for you. Come back with me. It was a woman's voice. Before the voice had completely disappeared, the figure had already appeared. It was also a beautiful woman. Her appearance was similar to Hua Feiyu, but she was more enchanting. She didn't come alone. Behind her, there were 9 figures following her. The 9 figures were very powerful. At this moment, their expressions were incomparably dignified. However, the enchanting woman in front had a cold smile on her face. Is that so? I'm going back too. Men, bring me my saint beast and chariot. Hua Feiyu said. Her status in the Shadowless family was not ordinary. Therefore, when she went out or returned home, it was very ostentatious. Her spirit boat and chariot were of very high grade. They might even surpass the existence of a half-step Saint Tool. Moreover, every time, there would be some powerful half-step Saint Beast pulling her chariot. This showed the strength of the Shadowless family. At the same time, it also showed her supreme status. Hearing Hua Feiyu's words, the enchanting woman laughed. Chapter 3452. Sister Feiyu, you're really extravagant as usual. Unfortunately, there's nothing today. You'd better follow me back. Speaking of this, she took out the spirit boat that was decorated very luxuriously. Follow her back. Seeing her reaction, Hua Feiyu frowned. Seems like you've become so reckless after not being taught a lesson for a few days. Hua Feiyu, you're too full of yourself. Do you really think that you can still be so arrogant now? The enchanting woman sneered, and a vicious look appeared in her eyes. To be honest, the battle between the big families was very cruel. Although they were all from the same family, Hua Feiyu's treatment since she was young was much better than theirs. Within the whole family, it was rumored that Hua Feiyu was the next successor of the Shadowless family. This made the others extremely jealous. Therefore, at this moment, The enchanting woman was very happy to see Hua Feiyu's miserable end. Don't think about your treatment as the successor. Now, whether you can live or not is another matter. The family has already ordered that you must be found and brought back, interrogated by torture. Therefore, you're now a prisoner. For the sake of my sister, I gave you some face and did not arrest you directly. If you dare to be arrogant in front of me again, believe it or not, I'll get someone to seal you and bring you back. Hearing such sarcastic words, Hua Feiyu's face completely darkened and her delicate body was trembling. To be honest, she had always been high and mighty in the family, like a princess. No one dared to provoke her. The younger generation did not dare to, but the older generation loved her very much. For something like this, the other party would probably have been tortured to death by her. Previously, she thought that she was able to win the love of the grand elders and the family because of her good talent. But now, she knew that this was not the case. It was because these people wanted to use her body to revive the old ancestor. That was why she was praised to the heavens. However, this huge difference in status made Hua Feiyu unable to accept it. Why, do you feel very uncomfortable? Do you want to kill me? Unfortunately, you don't have the right. From now on, you're a prisoner. You'd better kneel down and beg me. Maybe on the way back, I can torture you less. Otherwise, I can guarantee that when we return to the clan, I will let you have a taste of a fate worse than death. The enchanting woman lazily leaned on the jade couch as her voice was incomparably cold. He had to torture this little princess.
You.
Hua Feiyu trembled in anger. A terrifying aura rose from her body, and she was about to attack. However, in the next moment, she was stunned. That was because a piercingly cold sword chi flew past her. A beam of light streaked across the sky and instantly enveloped the enchanting woman. A miserable cry rang out, and then the entire sky was split open. How noisy! Lin Xian flicked his finger. He was the one who had shot out the sword chi. He had a purpose for coming here. Why would he listen to the nonsense of a little ant? Hua Feiyu's eyelids twitched, and that fear appeared again. In the distance, the 9 experts were stunned. One of their sisters had died. How is this possible? Who is this person? How dare he kill someone from the Shadowless clan? These people's minds were a little blank. Previously, they had thought that Lin Xian was Hua Feiyu's friend, but they did not pay much attention to it. Now, it seemed that was not the case. A friend dared to touch someone from the Shadowless clan? However, no matter who this kid was, he was dead for daring to touch someone from the Shadowless clan. Courting death. One of them roared and slammed his palm over. The others also drew their weapons one after another. A terrifying attack flew towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. They did not know what was good for them. These little ants were not enough in front of him. A beam of sword chi rose from his finger and flew in all directions. The sword chi was very bright and carried the power of the 5 elemental laws. It instantly enveloped those people. With a poof, the 9 people were cut into pieces by the sword chi, and all kinds of miserable cries rang out. Then, Lin Xian stretched out his golden hand, which carried a terrifying divine fire, and directly burned the bodies of the 9 people clean. In the blink of an eye, these people were annihilated by him. Beside him, Hua Feiyu was shocked. She felt that she was numb, but when she saw Lin Xian attack again, she was still terrified. He was too strong. No wonder he dared to call himself Invincible Lin. Lin Xian glanced at Hua Feiyu and said, "Why? Are you still worried? The safety of the Shadowless clan?" Based on the current situation, the Shadowless clan has already started to capture you. You should worry about your own safety first. Hearing this, Hua Feiyu's face changed instantly. Indeed, her clan must have found out about her. Otherwise, her cousin would not have dared to treat her like this. It seemed that her clan was determined to capture her. Since that was the case, why should she worry about her clan's safety? "Sir, don't worry. I am now your servant and have nothing to do with the Shadowless clan." Hua Feiyu seemed to have made a decision. Very good. Soon, you'll be grateful for your decision. Lin Xian said indifferently. Then he said, "Let's go. Lead the way to the ancestral land of the Shadowless clan." Lin Xian waved his hand, and the seductive woman's body was evaporated. Then, he grabbed the spiritual boat forcefully. He and Hua Feiyu sat on it, and Hua Feiyu started to control the spiritual boat. They headed towards the Shadowless clan quickly. At the same time, the entire Shadowless clan started to move. Many of them came back to report that they had found Hua Feiyu's whereabouts. Someone had already gone to capture Hua Feiyu. "You must bring her back. You must capture her alive, and try not to hurt her. Also, send more people. We still don't know who helped Hua Feiyu remove the seed in her body. However, to be able to discover Hua Feiyu's secret, it must be an expert. If necessary, send more sages." "Yes, we will go and prepare now." Among them, a few elders also stood up and prepared to head over to seal In Feiyu. However, just as they stood up, their bodies swayed, and they almost fell. At the same time, a thunderous sound was heard.
Boom.
The sound was so terrifying that the entire Shadowless clan shook violently.
Why?
"Is there an earthquake? How is that possible? We are in the spirit vein. How can there be an earthquake? What is going on?" The elders and experts in the main hall were all stunned. Outside, a few guards rushed in crazily. They knelt on the ground and reported, "Oh no, someone is attacking us. Our clan's defensive array has been split open." Chapter 3453.
What?
The people in the hall were all stunned. Their defensive array had been split open. What was going on? The Shadowless clan was an overlord. Who would dare to provoke them? Moreover, their defensive array was so powerful that even a sage could not break it. Now, someone had actually split it open. Who was it? Had the other top clans joined forces to attack them? If the other clans had joined forces, it might have been possible. However, a few guards came over and said in horror, "No, it's Princess Hua Feiyu. She's back."
What?
Hua Feiyu?
She's back.
Wait, who's with her? Is someone threatening her? One of the elders shouted coldly. Perhaps it was that mysterious expert who had made a move. The guard hurriedly said. Princess Hua Feiyu was not threatened, but there was indeed a person following beside her. It was a very beautiful young man. A young man. In the main hall, the elders were all stunned. If it was a very powerful elder, they would believe it. But what was going on with the young man? At this moment, an elder said coldly. Perhaps it was just a young man who had lived for thousands of years. Indeed, these subordinates did not have good eyesight and might not be able to recognize that expert. Let's go out and take a look. Humph! How dare he come to the Shadowless clan and behave so atrociously? No matter who he is, he won't be able to leave. These people sneered. Among them, the head of the Shadowless clan stood up and walked forward with large strides. Behind him, the elders and experts all followed. They wanted to see who dared to behave atrociously in front of the Shadowless clan. In the core area of the Shadowless clan, there was a huge array. At this moment, the array had been split into two, and the spatial crack would not heal for a long time. The large crack made the Shadowless clan's experts inside feel numb. At this moment, two figures were standing outside the formation. They were Lin Xian and Hua Feiyu. Lin Xian and Hua Feiyu came to the core area. Then, Lin Xian used his peerless swordsmanship, 9 suns open the sky, to split open the array. This caused the scene just now. At this moment, countless members of the Shadowless clan rushed out of the defensive formation. They were densely packed, and like ghosts, they attacked at high speed. There were even some people who completely surrounded Lin Xian and Lin Xian. Seeing this, Hua Feiyu's face turned ugly. Although she was also a saint, she was unable to defend herself against such an overwhelming attack, as well as those elders and experts. She looked worriedly at Lin Xian, but Lin Xian just stood there with his hands clasped behind his back. He narrowed his eyes and looked incomparably calm. He was different from Hua Feiyu. He was not a flower that grew up in a greenhouse. He had fought his way up step by step. It could be said that he had been through hundreds of battles, and there was nothing that he had not seen before. The people who came out now were not enough to move him. Let's go. I think the people inside already know. Let's go and meet them. Lin Xian walked straight ahead. Hua Feiyu's scalp went numb, but he still followed closely behind. Now Lin Xian was her life-saving straw. Without Lin Xian, she could not withstand the anger of the Shadowless clan. Therefore, she could only follow Lin Xian in.
Kill.
Around them, the Shadowless clan experts roared crazily. The person before them had first breached their defensive formation, and now, he was acting so recklessly, daring to enter their core region. This made them extremely angry. In an instant, all the members of the Shadowless clan around them moved. In the sky, countless energy surged, densely packed, and rushed toward Lin Xian. Flames appeared on Lin Xian's body one after another, forming patterns that were abnormally terrifying. God of Nine Suns' body bloomed, and at the same time, the divine fire formed an illusion of a giant, enveloping him and Hua Feiyu. The giant followed Lin Xian's footsteps and also walked forward. Around them, all the attacks of the Shadowless clan hit the golden giant, causing a shocking explosion. However, they could not shake the golden giant at all. In this way, Lin Xian directly entered the core area of the Shadowless clan. How is that possible? How can he block so many attacks? The surrounding members of the Shadowless clan were all stunned. With so many of them attacking, even a saint would be injured, right?
Kill.
Many people directly moved. They did not attack from afar, but directly closed in. They were like shadows, and in an instant, more than a dozen figures came in front of Lin Xian. The weapons in their hands stabbed at his vital points. The other party's divine powers were powerful, but his body would not be able to block their attacks.
Boom. Boom. Boom.
More than a dozen knives, swords, and daggers, flickering with demonic light, slashed fiercely on Lin Xian's body, making countless thunderous sounds. Flames splashed, and the void shattered. This force was too powerful, and it could destroy everything. Hee die, kid. They smiled ferociously. Soon, their smiles froze, and they became frightened. He was not injured. They screamed as if they had gone crazy. Lin Xian did not even turn his head. He pushed his hand, and the huge golden hand, with the power of stormy waves, directly pushed in all directions. The bodies of more than a dozen Shadowless clan powerhouses around him instantly exploded. At the same time, Lin Xian controlled the golden giant to take a step forward. At the same time, his hands danced like two huge mountains. The surrounding Shadowless clan powerhouses were either stomped to death or sent flying. In an instant, screams rang out, and the ground and wind shook. It was a scene of destruction. Hua Feiyu followed behind him, her face full of shock. This scene was too shocking. This was the Shadowless clan, the core area of the Shadowless clan. Who would dare to behave atrociously here? But now, a young man was killing in all directions. Countless corpses of the Shadowless clan powerhouses fell, and the sea of blood turned into hell. No one dared to move forward. Those who were still alive stood far away, their bodies trembling. They moved with Lin Xian, but no one dared to make a move. Damn it! A group of people walked out of the hall in the distance. Originally, they were aggressive and had cold smiles on their faces. They wanted to see who dared to be impudent. When they arrived, they saw a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood in front of them. Those who had died were all the elites of the Shadowless clan. Immediately, the elders screamed, "Damn it, who is it? Who dares to kill so many of our elites?" Cold runes burst out from their eyes, and a terrifying light pierced through the void. They stared at the two figures who were still standing in front of them. Hua Feiyu. "Damn it, you bitch. How dare you attack the clan?" One of the elders instantly rushed over. His speed was extremely fast, and he arrived in front of them in an instant. A black dagger appeared in his hand, and it carried an extremely terrifying poison. This was a poison technique that was refined with the blood of 3 demon saints. It was extremely terrifying. The cold dagger slashed forward. Chapter 3454. Everything happened so quickly that the Shadowless clan members did not react in time. When they did, they screamed, "Don't kill her, just capture her." They were still afraid that their experts would hurt Hua Feiyu. However, it was obvious that they were thinking too much. Hua Feiyu took 2 steps back and retreated behind Lin Xian. Lin Xian threw out a punch. His fist shone brightly, and Dao runes surrounded it. It was like a god's fist as it blasted toward the Shadowless clan expert.
Boom.
There was an intense collision, and then the void exploded. A figure flew out. It was the Shadowless clan expert. Both of his hands were broken, and there was a hole in his body. His internal organs were all shattered. The people behind him were stupefied. They were incomparably shocked. That was a sage. He was defeated so easily by the other party. Who was this young man in front of them? Damn it, who are you? Hua Feiyu, how dare you join forces with outsiders to attack the clan? On the other side, there was a series of crazy roars. Clan, are you also my clansman? What did you do to me? Hua Feiyu's voice was hoarse. You have already planned to sacrifice me. Why should I care about the clan? Every man for himself. Since you force me, don't blame me for being ruthless. Hua Feiyu's eyes were filled with determination. He had to live. He had to live. Damn it, Hua Feiyu. As a member of the Shadowless clan, you naturally have to sacrifice for the Shadowless clan. It's your good fortune to be chosen by the ancestor. Hurry up and kneel down and admit your mistake. We will spare your life and let bygones be bygones. Otherwise, you will have to bear the anger of the entire clan. You don't have to threaten me. I have a new master now. I will listen to whatever master says. Hua Feiyu looked at Lin Xian. On the other side, the Shadowless clan members were all sealed.
Master?
The genius that they had painstakingly nurtured had become someone else's slave? This made their lungs explode with anger. In an instant, countless eyes looked at Lin Xian. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. Damn kid, who are you? Get over here and die. I will tear you to pieces. These people were mad with anger. Lin Xian coldly snorted. I'm here to investigate your Shadowless clan's ancestral land. If you don't want to die, get out of my way.
What?
Were they here to plot against their ancestral land? These people were stunned for a moment before they flew into a rage. Could it be that they were here for their patriarch? Damn it, kill him. I must kill him. He could not allow him to threaten the old ancestor. All of a sudden, the members of the Shadowless clan all rushed towards Lin Xian. On Lin Xian's body, the 5 elemental laws emanated and wrapped around his arms. Then, he slashed in all directions. The 9-yang sword technique was incomparably terrifying when used by him. Those Shadowless clan members were all sent flying. Even the saints of the first heaven were unable to get close. What about the array formation? Use the killing array to kill him. The family head roared furiously. The people around him were casting formations. Countless formations were stacked on top of each other. However, Lin Xian let out a long roar. He opened the sky with both hands, and the sword chi on his body swept across the 9 heavens and 10 lands, shattering all the sword techniques. At the same time, he used the aqua tide. A terrifying light appeared in his eyes, and his pupil technique spread out in all directions. The surrounding Shadowless clan members all held their heads and screamed. Those who were weak had their souls directly destroyed. Even the sages' faces were pale and filled with fear. In an instant, the Shadowless clan members were all stunned. A young man had suppressed them to the point that they could not even raise their heads? Who was this person? Who dared to cause trouble in the Shadowless clan? A cold voice sounded between heaven and earth. Then, the void split open, and an old man walked out. When they saw the old man, many people cheered. It was the Grand Elder. Grand Elder, please attack. Kill him, Grand Elder. You must kill him. He killed so many of our elites. And that Hua Feiyu, Grand Elder, you must suppress her. Countless people prostrated themselves on the ground. The Grand Elder's gaze darkened as he looked at Lin Xian and Hua Feiyu. He did not say anything. His palm covered the sky and the earth, grabbing towards the two of them. Hua Feiyu's face turned incomparably pale. Young master, this is not good. This is the Grand Elder, a level 2 saint. A level 2 saint? Lin Xian sneered. He waved his hand, and the 5 elemental laws revolved, forming a 5 elemental treasure wheel that rushed forward. This was a law artifact formed by the 5 elemental laws. It was very terrifying, and it slashed across the sky like a death scythe. Boom, boom, boom. Cracks spread between heaven and earth, and the surrounding space kept shattering. The Shadowless clan members were also frantically retreating. In front of them, it was a scene of destruction. However, the Shadowless clan members were extremely excited. They knew that the Grand Elder who attacked them was a level 2 late-stage elder. He was very powerful. With him attacking, they could definitely destroy the strong enemy. The other party would definitely not survive. Just like that, they waited patiently. The light in front of them gradually dimmed, and the cracks also disappeared. However, they were soon stunned. The reason for that was because they discovered that 2 figures had appeared before them. How could it be? The Shadowless clan members were dumbfounded. They kept slapping their faces, thinking that they had fallen into an illusion. The other party was fine. How could he not be dead? That was the attack of a level 2 elder. Hua Feiyu was also stunned. To be honest, the attack just now had made her feel hopeless. She thought that Lin Xian would not be able to block the Grand Elder's attack. But now, it seemed that she had thought too much. The young man in front of her dared to come to the Shadowless clan, which meant that he had enough means. What Grand Elder? He was just so. Kneel on the ground obediently and submit to me, and I will not kill you. My target is your ancestral land. Otherwise, if you dare to stop me again, I will send you on your way. Lin Xian looked forward and said indifferently. Hearing this, the Shadowless clan members in the distance went crazy. Threat. Someone actually dared to threaten their Grand Elder. He was too bold. Kid, you have thoroughly angered me. I will let you taste the feeling of living a life worse than death. The Grand Elder rushed over and began to attack crazily. His heart was filled with anger. How dare a kid threaten him? This was intolerable. Shadow Saint, go to hell. The Grand Elder shouted, and the sacred domain rushed out and enveloped Lin Xian. Countless shadows appeared and pounced on Lin Xian. Each attack could easily kill a level 1 saint. Lin Xian's eyes shone with an unparalleled light. His fists swept out in all directions, and the powerful force tore apart all the shadows that came close to him. Even the sacred domain was trembling from his attacks. However, at this moment, that utmost exalted elder let out a long shout. The entire sacred domain suddenly shrank and disappeared. Lin Xian's face changed. His body stiffened as if he had been fixed in the void. Ha, kid, you have been hit by my shadowless technique. Let's see how you will die. Chapter 3455. Not good. Hua Feiyu's face became extremely ugly, and the people of the Shadowless clan in the distance all started laughing, because they knew that the other party was dead meat. Sure enough, Lin Xian was motionless in the air, as if he had been frozen. Under his feet, his shadow was strangely entangled by the other's shadow. Young master, be careful. This was a shadow technique, and he couldn't control it. Hua Feiyu screamed. He also knew this shadow technique. It was the ultimate technique of the Shadowless clan. As long as he could entangle the opponent's shadow, he could force the opponent to do anything. For example, right now, the Grand Elder raised his hand and controlled the shadow to stab Lin Xian's heart and head.
Wang.
Lin Xian's hand was pulled up by the shadow, and he was about to commit suicide.
No.
Hua Feiyu closed his eyes. He felt despair. Was Lin Xian really going to die here? If Lin Xian died, her fate would be very miserable. Lin Xian seemed to have been controlled. The hand was getting closer and closer to his forehead. If it pierced through, even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. The Grand Elder revealed a sinister smile. To fight with him, the other party was too weak. Shadow technique? It was indeed strange, but unfortunately, it was useless against me. Just as Lin Xian's hand was about to touch his forehead, he stopped and sneered. What's going on? Why did he stop? The Grand Elder was stunned and hurriedly controlled the shadow. He wanted to speed up, but the other party didn't commit suicide. Instead, he stopped there. No matter how hard the shadow tried to pull him, he did not move at all. How could this be? Impossible. Could it be that it had failed? The Supreme Elder's expression changed. The people of the Shadowless clan were also shocked. Hua Feiyu was also stunned. Lin Xian's body shook. The Nine-Yang divine body emitted millions of rays of light as a sword qi tore apart all the shadows on his body. It was useless. Xian walked forward, and his aura grew stronger and stronger. Not good. The Grand Elder's face turned completely gloomy. His secret technique was actually ineffective against the other party. Humph. He snorted coldly. It seemed that he could only use other secret techniques to deal with this brat. He raised his hand and shot out several streaks of void. Not good. It's the invisible needle. Young master, be careful. Hua Fei screamed again from behind. The shadowless needle was a top-notch hidden weapon. Furthermore, it was coated with poison. Even saints would die if they were hit by it. If he was stabbed, he would be in danger.
Boom.
Lin Xian stomped his foot, and the sword qi on his body flickered. He directly shook off the shadowless needle. At the same time, he used stellar transposition to send the shadowless needles flying with even more terrifying power. He rushed towards the Grand Elder. The Supreme Elder issued a command and hurriedly dodged. Damn it! What the hell is going on? Humph, Supreme Elder? That was all there was to it. Now this battle was over. Lin Xian's expression was incomparably solemn. He felt that there was no need to continue fighting with his opponent. Therefore, he pulled out the Spear of Great Destruction. The Great Dragon Sword Soul was also activated. Like a long dragon, it pierced forward.
What?
How terrifying. The combination of the two forces caused heaven and earth to continuously shatter. The people of the Shadowless clan were all stunned. Even the Supreme Elder's expression became incomparably ugly. This aura made him feel terrified. Damn it, block it for me. He waved his hands and fiercely attacked in front of him. At this moment, he no longer held back. At the same time, his body became void and completely disappeared into the void. The Shadowless clan might not be the strongest in a head-on battle, but in terms of hiding, escaping, and assassination, they were definitely the most confident. You can't escape. Lin Xian's eyes flickered with golden light. He used the Kunpeng movement technique and dodged the Supreme Elder's full-powered attack. Then, the Spear of Great Destruction danced and pierced into the void. Then, the void shattered, and a figure was nailed in the void. His body was pierced by the Spear of Great Destruction. His saint blood dyed the void red. The Supreme Elder's heart was pierced, and he kept screaming in the air. A saint artifact. Damn it, that's a saint artifact. How can you have such a thing in your hands? The Supreme Elder had gone crazy. However, he was strong. Although he was nailed, he could still fight back. Die for me. A dark golden dagger appeared in his hand, and he ruthlessly stabbed at Lin Xian's neck. Although it wasn't a saint artifact, its power was still very terrifying. Stellar transposition. Lin Xian waved, and the dark golden dagger was directly transferred to the Supreme Elder's body. With a slash, the Supreme Elder's head was cut off. His face was full of horror and disbelief. However, in the next moment he screamed. Because Lin Xian didn't stop. Blue tide rising. Attacking Ling Hunzi, the High Elder let out a miserable shriek, as if he had gone mad. Lin Xian used the Spear of Great Destruction and shot out a few dragon-shaped sword qi, completely shattering the Supreme Elder's body. The aura of the Great Dragon Sword Soul made it impossible for the Supreme Elder to heal in a short time.
Boom.
The nine-yang divine body transformed into a giant and stepped on the Supreme Elder's broken body. Lin Xian was like a peerless tyrant, looking down on the world. Everyone was stunned. Hua Feiyu stared at the scene with her eyes wide open. Was this Lin Wuti? He was too strong. In the distance, the people of the Shadowless clan were terrified. They were trembling. Even the Supreme Elder was suppressed by the other party. The Supreme Elder's body was being stepped on by the Golden Foot, and he couldn't resist at all. At the same time, there was a look of horror in his eyes. Such a young person could have such a terrifying sword chi and such a terrifying physique. Also, the pitch-black weapon emitted demonic chi. He finally guessed who the other party was. In all the worlds, there was only one such young person, and that was Lin Wuti. Lin Wuti was in the Shadowless clan. He couldn't believe it. On the opposite side, the Shadowless clan's patriarch and elders were also terrified. The Supreme Elder was an existence that they looked up to. But now, such an existence was being stepped on by the foot of the other party. It was as if this foot was just stepping on the Supreme Elder. Even their confidence and arrogance had been trampled on. He knew that the person in front of him was a peerless enemy. He had to activate the Shadowless clan's foundation. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to fight back. So, he roared, "Hurry up and activate the last line of defense. Release our foundation." Not good. Hua Feiyu's face changed again. The foundation of the Shadowless clan was absolutely terrifying. That was the foundation of the Shadowless clan. She looked at Lin Xian, but saw that Lin Xian didn't care. In fact, Lin Xian was transmitting a message to He Shan. "Is there a problem?" He Shan laughed. "Don't worry, I've already made arrangements. They won't be able to contact me." Chapter 3456. Soon, the people of the Shadowless clan began to scream in agony. "Oh no, we can't awaken the living fossil. We can't seem to contact him." Countless screams were heard. The patriarch of the Shadowless clan trembled violently and spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood. He seemed to have aged 1,000 years in an instant. There shouldn't be a problem with their clan's foundation. They couldn't contact him because the young man in front of them had done something. When did he do it? He didn't know. He knew that he had underestimated the young man. The next moment he sighed. "Young master, please stop. We've surrendered. You can tell us what you want." Ancestral land. The faces of the experts of the Shadowless clan changed. The elders also sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces were filled with disbelief. However, the patriarch of the Shadowless clan made a face and transmitted his voice. "Doesn't he want to enter the ancestral land? Don't you know how strong our patriarch is? That kid will definitely die." As soon as these words came out, the surrounding elders were stunned. Then they all breathed a sigh of relief. Indeed, they didn't let the other party enter not because they were worried about their patriarch, but because they felt that they had been humiliated. They were one of the top clans, and their ancestral land was a sacred place. Even their own clansmen didn't have the qualifications to enter. How could they tolerate an outsider suddenly running over and saying that they could enter alone?
But now,
they realized. It seemed that there was only one way to trick the other party into the ancestral land. Then, they would let their patriarch personally deal with the other party. Hua Feiyu couldn't believe that his clan had risen and fallen. This scene was like a dream. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. "I'm not interested in you guys. I'm here to find your ancestral land. Lead the way. Don't worry, as long as you don't do anything and lead the way, I won't kill the Shadowless clan." The ancestral land of the Shadowless clan was a forbidden area. Other than the patriarch, a few elders with high authority, and the Supreme Elder, no one had entered. The others had never entered at all. So, at this moment, their faces were full of curiosity. What does this person want to do in their ancestral land? Everyone followed the patriarch and headed toward the ancestral land. Lin Xian strode forward. He was like a god. Wherever he passed, no one dared to stop him. After passing through layers upon layers of defensive formations, they finally arrived at the deepest region. This was the forbidden area of the clan. In front of him, there were more than 10 huge mountain ranges. In the middle of the mountain range, there was an ancient cave. Two simple and unadorned doors were tightly shut. On it were the most exquisite Tao patterns. A mysterious aura pervaded the air. "Young master, I'll bring you there now." The patriarch of the Shadowless clan said respectfully. At the same time, he said to the people around him, "This is the clan's forbidden area. You can only stay outside, and no one is allowed to enter. Trespassers will be killed without mercy." The surrounding Shadowless clan members could only agree. Facing that door, they didn't dare to cross it. Lin Xian nodded and then said to Hua Feiyu, "You also wait here. Don't worry, no one will dare to touch you."
Yes.
Hua Feiyu nodded. Although her face was pale, she still waited obediently. She did not dare to resist at the moment. Everyone was waiting. Their gazes were all on the front. Lin Xian followed the patriarch of the Shadowless clan and walked forward.
Boom, boom, boom.
The ancient doors were slowly pushed open, revealing the darkness inside. Lin Xian did not hesitate at all and walked straight in.
Boom.
After the two of them entered, the ancient doors slowly closed. Not even a ray of light shone through. After entering, the aura inside was even more strange. Lin Xian frowned. This feeling made him very uncomfortable. It was as if this was a place of the dead. The aura of death was constantly trying to devour his flesh and blood. He snorted coldly. The sword will in his body circulated, isolating the aura of the dead. At the same time, he squinted his eyes. Golden light flashed as he looked around. This place was very old. At first glance, one could tell that it was very old. This kind of building could not be seen anywhere except in some ancient ruins. What attracted him the most was a huge altar in front of him. There was a black coffin on the altar. The aura of death was the most dignified there. Just as Lin Xian was admiring the tea, the leader of the Shadowless clan knelt on the ground with a plop and said very respectfully, "This disciple is unfilial. Please, patriarch."
Whoosh.
A black storm seemed to blow around them, bringing with it a gloomy aura. Lin Xian snorted coldly. A layer of sword qi covered his body, isolating him from the black storm. In front of him, the Shadowless patriarch's body trembled. The next moment he opened his eyes. Black light flowed in his eyes. The black storm around him disappeared. He stood up and turned to look at Lin Xian. Although he still looked the same, his aura and gaze were completely different from before. It was an aura that looked down on the world and looked down on everything. It was as if he did not take anyone seriously at all. Lin Xian frowned. He felt that the Shadowless patriarch seemed to be a different person. He was indeed arrogant. If he was careful, he was no longer the patriarch of the Shadowless clan. He was probably being controlled by their patriarch. Lin Xian was on guard. The Shadowless patriarch's eyes flashed black.
Who are you?
Why have you come to see me? Are you the patriarch of the Shadowless clan? I'm curious. How can someone who has been dead for who knows how many tens of thousands of years still be alive? Buzz. The Shadowless patriarch's pupils shrank. The black light in his eyes became even more terrifying. A black storm rose from his body and swept through the 9 heavens. It was as if countless demons were dancing in the sky. The aura was too terrifying. It seemed to want to tear Lin Xian apart. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His body shone brightly, like the sun in the night. At the same time, sword qi surrounded him, shattering all the black storm around him. It seems that I was right. You shouldn't exist in this world. Tell me your secret, and I can spare your life. Otherwise, I'll destroy your body and soul and make you disappear completely. Destroy my body and soul and make me disappear completely? The Shadowless patriarch laughed loudly. You're just an ant. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? But I'm curious.
Who are you? How dare you know my secret?
Lin Xian had heard a lot about the Shadowless patriarch from Heishan, so he sneered. Is it that hard to guess your secret? You've been dead for many years. but you've planted a soul fragment in someone else's body. You used your soul to raise a corpse in an attempt to escape the 6 paths of reincarnation. You did it secretly, but you can't fool me. It seems that you know a lot. What else do you know? The shadowless patriarch didn't attack immediately. He seemed to be trying to confirm who Lin Xian was. Which force did he belong to? He was probing him. Chapter 30, 457. I also know that you're struggling at death's door. You probably can't even leave this cave, so you can only send some of your soul into a junior's body. You seem strong now, but it's just a bluff. Your true strength is only SOSO, so don't try to fight me. Otherwise, you'll definitely die. It seems that you know a lot. Since that's the case, I can't let you leave here alive. Shadowless Ancestor's expression was ferocious. His secret couldn't be leaked, so Lin Fan had to die. A terrifying aura appeared on his body. A black storm spun rapidly around him, and countless black laws surged between heaven and earth. The terrifying power could tear everything apart. Humph, you're just a soul. You can't use much power. Do you really think you're still at your peak? Lin Xian huffed coldly. The sword chi on his body became even more terrifying.
Buzz.
A large black palm reached out from the black storm. It carried countless laws and shrouded forward. It seemed that it wanted to grab Lin Xian and crush him.
Boom, boom, boom.
Lin Xian pulled out the spear of destruction and slashed forward with several sword chi. Sword chi spun in the sky one after another, as if it was going to split the sky and earth apart.
Boom, 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 boom.
The death chi was cut apart. Shadowless Ancestor's body shook. He was shocked. Indeed, his strength was no longer at his peak, but it wasn't something that a young boy could resist. He'd already checked Lin Fan. He was a level 1 saint and an early one at that. It seemed that Lin Fan had just become a saint. Such a person was like an ant in front of him. But now, Lin Fan's swordsmanship was beyond his expectations. Interesting. No wonder you can come here. It seems that you're a genius who can fight above your level. Unfortunately, I don't take a genius like you seriously. Young man, I can only say that you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. My strength isn't something that you can guess. As he spoke, the death chi on his body became even more terrifying. The laws danced, forming a door of death. Now, your life is mine. Looking at your body, it should be some kind of super strong body. Your flesh is a great supplement for me. Shadowless laughed. The gate of death in the sky blossomed with a jet-black light. The eerie ghost chi pressed down, as if it was really going to swallow Lin Xian whole. The aura on it could instantly turn a sage into a dried corpse. Lin Xian held the Great Destruction Spear and drew a strange arc in the sky. He used stellar transposition. All of a sudden, the death energy flew to the sides under the stellar transposition. None of it could get close to him. How dare you have designs on me? You're really courting death. I'll also show you my strength. Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved the Great Destruction Spear, shooting out an incomparably cold sword chi. Streaks of sword chi blossomed with resplendent light, and a powerful aura slashed forward. Outside the ancestral land, countless members of the Shadowless family were waiting anxiously. Why hadn't the clan chief come out after such a long time? Could it be that something went wrong? How is that possible? Our old ancestor is inside. An existence like that is enough to suppress everything. No matter how powerful that kid is, he's no match for Rat. Indeed, when they thought of the old ancestor, they all breathed a sigh of relief, and then sneered. That kid had probably been killed by now. Among them, many looked at Hua Feiyu and sneered. When the clan chief came out later, they would teach Hua Feiyu a lesson. They would let her know the consequences of betraying the family. Hua Feiyu's body was cold, and her scalp was numb. To be honest, she was about to lose all hope. Could Lin Xian really withstand it? That was the old ancestor of the Shadowless family. What a terrifying existence. Once Lin Xian was killed, what awaited her would be a fate worse than death. She felt that she could barely stand. However, at that moment, the ancestral land in front of her started to shake. There was a muffled sound of thunder, and the surrounding ground kept shaking. What was going on? Was it an earthquake? No, the shaking was coming from the ancestral land. The surrounding people screamed crazily. Their gazes were fixed on the cave abode in front of them, and their eyes were full of disbelief. Why would there be such a situation in the ancestral land? One should know that the ancestral land had not experienced any energy fluctuations for many years. But now, the fluctuations were getting more and more intense. Could it be that the people inside were fighting? They sucked in a breath of cold air. Hua Feiyu was stunned, and a glimmer of hope appeared on her pale face. It seemed that Lin Wuti was really fighting with her old ancestor. This meant that Lin Wuti was not dead yet. Thinking of this, she clenched her fists and prayed in her heart that Lin Wuti must win.
Boom, boom, boom.
The sound was getting louder and louder, and countless cracks appeared all around, and the ancestral land was shaking more and more. Finally, with a loud bang, the two quaint doors were torn apart, and a figure flew out. Following that, another person rushed over like a bolt of lightning. I told you, you're just a person who shouldn't exist. You're not in your peak state back then. Do you really think I can't do anything to you? Lin Xian's sword Qi soared to the sky, and the great spear of destruction was unparalleled. The person opposite him, on the other hand, had disheveled hair, like a demon, and a dark aura around him. Outside, the Shadowless clan were all stunned. They recognized that the powerful person was Lin Wuti. The one with disheveled hair was their clan leader. But at this moment, their clan leader's aura was completely different from before. Not only was he stronger, but his yin qi was deep and cold, and it made their hair stand on end. Some of them exclaimed. This was not their clan leader, but their old ancestor. The soul of their old ancestor had descended to control their clan leader's body. Basically, their old ancestor had been resurrected. But what frightened them was that their old ancestor had been beaten out, and he seemed to be at a disadvantage. They could not believe it. Was the young man opposite them already so terrifying? The Shadowless clan was going crazy. Hua Feiyu was also stunned, but then she was overjoyed. Great! She had finally made the right bet. Is this our old ancestor? Impossible. Why is our old ancestor being suppressed? Many of the Shadowless clan were screaming like crazy. However, several elders roared angrily. Among them, one of them said coldly, "Shut up, all of you. What do you know? This is just a wisp of our old ancestor's soul. Don't worry, even a wisp of his soul can kill him, because our old ancestor was a sage king when he was alive." Chapter 30:458. This voice clearly spread in all directions. After the Shadowless family members heard this, they gradually calmed down. At the same time, they were more excited than ever. They knew that there was a terrifying existence in their family's ancestral land. Normally, no one was allowed to enter, but they didn't expect it to be their patriarch. And this patriarch was still alive. More importantly, this old ancestor was the pinnacle existence that was still alive back then. He was the Sage King. That was a Saint King. He was definitely a super terrifying expert in Jiutian Shidi. Such a person, even if weakened, was not someone that ordinary sages could compare to. So, hope reappeared in their eyes. In front of them, Patriarch Shadowless was trembling with anger. His eyes shone with a terrifying gray light. The death chi on him was even more overwhelming. He didn't expect to be suppressed by a young man. Damn it, your physique, your sword energy. Everything you have is mine. Patriarch Shadowless roared crazily. He realized that his opponent's body was definitely super strong. It was very likely that it was one of the strongest bodies in the universe. If he could get his hands on such a body, he could completely revive within 100 years. At that time, he would be a true Sage King. Moreover, with this body, he had a high chance of becoming a Supreme Saint. Shadowless' old ancestor was in the midst of the assassination. His body was wrapped in terrifying death Dao patterns. The entire sky was shaking. This time, he was really angry. This power was even more terrifying than before. Kid, there's no need to hold back. Just attack him directly. I'll remind you of some of his secret techniques or flaws. Black Mountain transmitted his voice. This battle was unusual. He didn't hold back. After all, this wasn't a young genius or an ordinary expert of the older generation. He was a peerless expert who died tens of thousands of years ago. This was a Saint King. So he had to remind him. Lin Xian nodded. The sword chi on him became even more terrifying. In an instant, he turned into a river of sword chi and slashed forward.
Boom, boom, boom.
The sword chi and the death chi clashed. The two exploded with endless energy. Everyone's scalp went numb from the power. One had to admit that Patriarch Shadowless was very powerful. Although this was his weakened state, he was still much more terrifying than an ordinary level 2 saint. Brat hit him on the head. Black Mountain transmitted his voice. Lin Xian controlled the 81 nomological swords and attacked quickly with the power of the 5 elements. The battle was very intense. Shadowless was even more shocked. To be honest, he realized that the other party was simply too terrifying, especially that sword chi. It was extremely terrifying. Even with his means, he was almost injured. Especially now, his opponent was attacking the top of his head with all his strength. This made him feel as if he was facing a great enemy. The top of his head was one of his greatest weaknesses. How did the other party find out? Could it be that the other party wasn't a young man, but an old monster that had lived for countless years? Thinking of this, the Grand Ancestor roared madly. The death aura on his body covered the sky and formed 9 gates of death, circling between heaven and earth. That terrifying death chi made the Shadowless clan's experts tremble in fear. Brat, go to hell. The death's door opened, and 9 death's hands appeared. The poo blotted out the sky and smashed towards Lin Xian.
Clang.
Lin Xian waved the Great Destruction Spear and slashed at the death's hands. The terrifying power shocked everyone. Many people's bodies cracked. What terrifying power! Lin Xian was also shocked. Normally, under such circumstances, even a second heaven sage would be killed by him. But now, these death's hands were not destroyed. As expected of a sage king. Even if he had been dead for countless years, his power was still shocking.
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Old Ancestor Shadowless and the 9 deaths' hands merged together. The terrifying death chi exploded again. He was like the god of death. His body was pitch black, and his fierce aura surged. Lin Xian used the Kuan Peng movement technique and quickly dodged. At the same time, the Dragon Sword Soul and the Great Destruction Spear exploded, and the sword chi slashed at the death's hands. The combination of the two was terrifying. It was like 81 divine dragons that kept attacking. The death's hands exploded. First, one of them shattered. Then, like a chain reaction, 7 of them shattered in an instant. Old Ancestor Shadowless was shocked. What kind of sword chi was that? It was too terrifying. It could even break the death's hands that he had summoned. This young man's combat power was too incredible. If I can get my hands on your body, then all of your combat power will be mine. Old Ancestor Shadowless was too excited. He had never seen such a terrifying young man. This was definitely a young Great Emperor. Thinking of this, he stopped activating the Death's Door. Instead, he formed a hand seal. His 2 black eyes turned into 2 balls of hellfire, and then suddenly enlarged and jumped. Oh no, it's a soul attack. Hua Feiyu's face turned pale. If Lin Xian was possessed by their old ancestor, it would be over. The people of the Shadowless family cheered. Their old ancestor was a sage king. His soul was terrifying. Kid, you're here. Seize the opportunity, He Shan said telepathically. Lin Xian also sneered. How dare you try to possess me? You're courting death. The last thing he was afraid of was being possessed. He Shan sent out a wave of demonic qi that surrounded Lin Xian to prevent others from sneaking up on him. Lin Xian stood in the sky and didn't resist at all. He allowed the two balls of black fire to jump around. The two balls of black fire jumped between his eyebrows and disappeared. The next moment, old ancestor Shadowless laughed in his mind. Stupid brat, go to hell. The black fire in the sky grew bigger, trying to devour Lin Xian's soul.
Buzz.
The next moment, a dragon's roar was heard. Then, a dragon-shaped sword rushed over and cut the black fire into pieces. A miserable cry was heard. Damn it, how is this possible? This is the great dragon sword. Old ancestor Shadowless roared crazily. He knew about the great dragon sword. It was a saint technique that was famous in the world in his time. He didn't expect that the other party would have the great dragon sword. No wonder the other party's combat power was so strong. In an instant, he quickly escaped. As expected of a sage king, he was very decisive and could escape from the great dragon sword. However, at this moment, a golden light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. It was very deep and turned into two golden vortexes. They were aimed at the black fire. This is? Old ancestor Shadowless screamed crazily, as if he had seen a ghost. At this moment, he was even more shocked than when he saw the great dragon sword. He was too familiar with this feeling.
Why?
Why do you have this thing? Old ancestor Shadowless fled crazily. Chapter 30, 459. However, his experience and secret technique allowed him to escape from the dragon-beating sword, but he couldn't escape from the two golden vortexes. The black flames were swallowed by the golden vortexes and disappeared. What? Where's their ancestor soul? I can't sense it. Outside, the experts of the Shadowless family all went crazy. What's going on? Could it be that their patriarch had been killed? This was too shocking. At this moment, they all collapsed. The body of the Shadowless family leader, who had been controlled by their ancestor's soul, fell from the sky and turned into a dried corpse. Did they win? Hua Feiyu heaved a sigh of relief. However, her expression changed in the next moment. The surrounding Shadowless family members were all stunned. Even Lin Xian frowned. His expression became extremely solemn. Ahead, a roar came from the ancestral land like a ghost, echoing through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Then, countless death chi appeared in the ancestral land and formed a world of death. This world of death instantly enveloped Lin Xian. The surrounding Shadowless family members were all sent flying. They could only watch from afar, trembling. What's going on? Is their ancestor still alive? They were shocked and doubtful. Lin Xian snorted and turned his head. His golden eyes pierced through everything and looked at the black coffin on the black altar. At this moment, Dao runes kept flashing on the black coffin.
Boom.
The lid of the coffin suddenly opened, and a figure sat up. The figure stood up. The aura on his body was so terrifying that the entire sky was collapsing. Kid, this is that guy's body. His corpse is here. Be careful. Black Mountain transmitted his voice. Lin Xian nodded. He didn't dare to be careless. It wasn't just a wisp of soul, but the other party's body was also there. Damn kid, I'll kill you. A cold voice came from the figure in front of him. Then, dozens of blades of death rushed over. Each of them was condensed by the laws. It was very terrifying. Lin Xian used the Kuan Peng technique. He didn't resist it directly. He could feel the terror of these blades of death. However, the blades of death kept increasing in number. In the end, he had no choice but to fight back. With a clang, the great spear of destruction collided with it, causing his arm to go numb. What a strong power! It was much stronger than before. However, Lin Xian was taken aback. Just this bit of strength? That's all there is to it. He let out a cold harumph and charged forward, tearing through the death chi and arriving in front of the figure. At this distance, he could clearly see the figure sitting up. It was a person with disheveled hair. However, his body was not as withered as one would imagine, nor was it made of bones. Instead, it was a person, a very normal person. However, his body was covered with black Dao runes. It was very strange. At this moment, two balls of black flames danced in his eyes as he grabbed at Lin Xian with his huge hands. Lin Xian was startled. This was Shunguan King's corpse. It definitely couldn't be resisted. Therefore, he quickly dodged. Relying on the Kunpeng technique, he circled around, occasionally releasing terrifying sword chi. An intense battle broke out. Suddenly, old ancestor Shadowless' huge hands appeared in an unbelievable place and grabbed Lin Xian. Not good. Lin Xian's heart raced. He couldn't resist the power of a sage king. He roared and resisted like a madman. Old ancestor Shadowless said, "Go to hell." The death chi on it was extremely thick. It wanted to tear Lin Xian apart. Lin Xian roared. The great dragon's sword transformed into the shape of a dragon and rushed out. With a whoosh, it shattered the huge hands. Whoosh. Lin Xian was pushed far away, his face pale. In the distance, old ancestor Shadowless roared like a madman. What's going on? Black Mountain was also stunned. No, there was something wrong with that thing. What's wrong? Lin Xian asked. He was still in shock. That guy was a sage king when he was alive. How strong is the Saint Ninja King's physique? Even if you have the great dragon sword spirit, you won't be able to break it. However, your sword strike just now actually broke his palm. There's something wrong with it. Hearing this, Lin Xian was also stunned. Yes, he was only a level 1 sage, and the Sage King was a level 8 sage. The difference between them was too big. The corpse of a Sage King was definitely terrifying. He had seen a living Sage King with his own eyes. He couldn't break that kind of body. But just now, he used the Great Dragon Sword Soul to cut off the other party's hand. What's going on? Could it be that the other party wasn't a Sage King? That was impossible. The other party's soul was at the level of a Sage King, and the techniques and mystiques were very similar. However, it might not be his corpse. Not his corpse? What did that mean? Have you heard of reincarnation in a corpse? Black Mountain's voice was serious. I thought it was related to reincarnation, but now it seems that it's not just reincarnation. It's also related to that place. That place? Where is that place? Lin Xian was even more surprised. However, Black Mountain didn't explain. Instead, he said, "If I'm not wrong, this is in the body of a Sage King. So, you can attack without hesitation, but be careful of his mystiques." On the other side, old ancestor Shadowless's expression was ferocious and miserable. His broken hand quickly healed again, and it was as good as new. He had completely stepped out of the black coffin. "Kid, I want you dead. Sword of Death." He waved his hand, and suddenly, 36 black sword lights rushed out from his body. Each of them carried an extremely terrifying aura of death. They cut through the void and slashed toward Lin Xian. "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Lin Xian stomped his foot and rushed over. He struck out a terrifying sword chi to collide with the other party. At the same time, he kept approaching the other party. As long as the other party wasn't the body of a Sage King, he was not afraid. As expected, under his powerful physique, his sword chi was like a peerless, immortal light. The two of them fought in close combat, causing explosions in all directions. The terrifying aura of death hit him with a clang. However, Lin Xian's sword chi also hit the other party. Old ancestor Shadowless was sent flying, and a large crack appeared on his body. Not only that, but the entire world of death was split open. The people of the Shadowless clan felt their scalps go numb. They saw the scene inside through the crack. They saw their old ancestor being split apart by the other party's sword, which made them unable to believe their eyes. The old ancestor was a godlike existence in their hearts. He was their clan's greatest hope. But now, such an existence had been split open multiple times by the other party. Previously, it had been a subsoul. Now that their old ancestor's main body had come out, how could he not suppress the other party? Chapter 30, 460. Ah! Patriarch Shadowless roared madly. His cracked body healed at an extremely fast speed. Lin Xian was greatly surprised by this scene. Although it wasn't the body of a sage king, it was still very strange. Ordinary sages would find it difficult to heal after being split open by the dragon sword soul. However, his opponent had destroyed the dragon sword soul's aura so easily. It was really strange. The Shadowless clan all cheered when they saw the scene. Great! Our patriarch won't be killed so easily. Our patriarch is a sage king.
He won't die.
They were too excited. Hua Fei's expression was very serious. How could a sage king die so easily? He could be reborn with just a drop of blood. He wondered if Lin Xian could kill their patriarch completely. If he couldn't, there would be endless trouble. Dragon Sword, Nine-Yang Divine Body, I really underestimated you. I didn't expect you to have so many treasures. No wonder you could force me to this point. Speaking of this, the two balls of black fire in his eyes jumped with incomparable greed. Such a body, such a divine ability, I must get it. You're very strong, but it's a pity. You're too young. You don't know the strength of a sage king. Now I'll show you. Patriarch Shadowless sneered. His palms formed a seal, and his body flickered and instantly disappeared. He disappeared. Lin Xian frowned. He looked around and stood there with a serious expression. In the distance, the Shadowless clan was also stunned. They couldn't sense their patriarch anymore. Suddenly, an elder exclaimed, "Shadowless Greater Shift." This was a peerless divine ability. Many people cried out in surprise. Ordinary sages couldn't learn this divine ability. It was an extremely core divine ability of their clan. But in the hands of their patriarch, it was a piece of cake. The Shadowless Greater Shift was no different from a spatial divine ability. After merging into the void, it was impossible to find. This was the strongest assassination technique.
Buzz.
At this moment, an arm appeared in front of Lin Xian. It held a death scythe and slashed directly at Lin Xian. Lin Xian was sent flying. Lin Xian was sent flying, spitting out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale, and his body was trembling. With a flip of his hand, he slashed forward with his sword. However, the death scythe in his hand disappeared in an instant, and he only managed to split open a large spatial rift. That's great. In the distance, the Shadowless family's people cheered. Shadowless Great Shift. That brat was dead for sure. He can't hurt our ancestor at all. Shadowless Greater Teleportation. Lin Xian frowned and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He Shan transmitted his voice and asked, "Brat, how is it? Would he be able to hold on?" "Don't worry, it won't affect me." Lin Xian activated his heavenly fortune god eyes. The golden vortex in his eyes grew colder. Suddenly, he thought of something and fiercely threw a punch to the left. With a clang, a death scythe was struck out. A figure also appeared, but it disappeared again in an instant. What? Blocked? How could this be? The powerhouses of the Shadowless family were all stunned. That was Shadowless Greater Teleportation. Even a sage king might not be able to detect it. What was going on with that brat? How could he detect their ancestors' attack? He must have been lucky to have hit the target with a random punch. Someone explained. The others nodded. They felt that this was the most reasonable situation. However, they were all stunned next. Another attack came from behind, but Lin Xian blocked it. The collision between the Spear of Great Destruction and the Death Scythe caused countless sparks. The world in all directions was shattering. Lin Xian was pushed back, but he was not injured. He blocked it again. What was going on? The Shadowless family's people were going crazy. Even the Shadowless family's ancestor frowned. He saw Lin Xian's eyes, and his face darkened. Damn it, those eyes. It's those eyes. With a roar, he turned into a stream of light, and the death scythe in his hand turned into a world of death. Shadow kill. The terrifying death scythe didn't attack Lin Xian. Instead, it attacked the shadow under Lin Xian's feet. Lin Xian was stunned. The next moment, his body trembled, and he revealed a look of shock. His shadow was slashed, and his body was also injured. Damn it, he quickly dodged. He actually had such a move. As expected of a Sage King's attack. It was unexpected. Kid, you can't escape. Although you have the 9-yang divine body and your physique is shocking, where is your shadow? It's just an ordinary shadow. I can attack it at will. So, you will definitely die. Next, the Death Scythe kept attacking Lin Xian's shadow. Lin Xian could only use the Kunpeng technique to move in the sky. He frowned. Damn it, he couldn't be so passive. He had to counterattack. Although the attack just now had injured him greatly, he could still withstand it. So even if he was hit again, he would be fine. He didn't believe that the other party had an immortal body. The other party must have paid a price to revive from a dead person. So, he decided to fight it out with the other party.
Buzz.
Lin Xian's body changed. Like a real dragon, he swam in the sky. Instead of running away, he attacked directly. His golden eyes locked onto a target. The Great Destruction spear in his hand danced.
What?
You want to fight it out with me? You're courting death. Old Ancestor Shadowless's body moved strangely, but one of his hands stopped in another direction. He was still attacking Lin Xian's shadow. This scene was extremely strange. Lin Xian's shadow was struck and was injured. However, he gritted his teeth and roared. The Great Destruction spear danced and rushed towards the fleeing figure. With a squelch, the spear pierced through the other party's shoulder. Old Ancestor Shadowless didn't care at first, but after being pierced, he immediately rolled and screamed. Half of his body was shattered. Even the head was slightly shattered by the impact. But the strange thing was that there was no blood dripping. There was only endless black qi. This scene was extremely strange. Lin Xian frowned. This body was too strange. He Shan said, Kid, look at his broken head. There seems to be something there. Lin Xian activated his heavenly secret divine eyes to the extreme and looked carefully. He saw it. It was a pearl, but he only saw part of it. The runes on it were too complicated, and the aura on it was extremely strange. It made Lin Xian's hair stand on end. Suddenly, he felt that the pearls seemed to be related to his heavenly secret divine eyes. His heavenly secret divine eyes jumped and shone with golden light. It was a black pearl. He sent the image he saw to He Shan. After He Shan saw it, he gasped. Could it be the legendary reincarnation pearl? Chapter 30, 461. What is the reincarnation pearl? Lin Xian asked. Black Mountain said, I don't have time to explain. Attack the reincarnation pearl and shatter it. He'll definitely die. Since he had found his target, Lin Xian didn't stop attacking. Across from him, Shadowless body recovered in an instant. He laughed loudly. I'm undying. You can't kill me at all. Even if you have the dragon sword soul, you can't kill me. Indeed, his body was as good as new. Even his aura was at its peak.
Is that so?
Are you sure you're undying? What if you don't have the reincarnation pearl? What? Shadowless was stunned. He screamed crazily with a terrified expression. Damn it, how did you know? He was crazy. His biggest secret had been discovered by the other party. The reason why he had been able to survive until now was all because of the reincarnation pearl in his body. But it was his biggest secret. Others didn't know at all. Even if they saw it, they wouldn't recognize it because of the broken pearl on his body. But Lin Xian had recognized it at a glance and said it out loud. He was terrified. Damn it, get out of my way. He had gone crazy. He wanted to escape. He paused and rushed toward the black coffin in the distance. You can't escape. Lin Xian rushed up and used the dragon sword soul. A dragon shadow appeared on the Great Destruction spear. Its terrifying aura surged into the 9 heavens.
Boom, 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 boom.
Hit after hit, Shadowless only wanted to escape, so he didn't fight back at all. His broken body healed again, but Lin Xian's attacks were too strong. After thousands of times, his recovery speed slowed down. In the end, it took a long time for him to heal. At this moment, he had arrived near the black coffin. He heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that he could only escape and find another place to rest. But how could Lin Xian let him escape? He formed a seal with his palms, and a pair of golden eyes appeared in the sky with a terrifying light. They looked down on the world like the eyes of a god. Shadowless was so scared that his scalp went numb. Those eyes terrified him too much. No, damn it. His expression was extremely ugly. Under such gazes, he was like an ant, which made him scream like crazy. Everyone from the Shadowless clan heard it.
Kill. Kill him for me.
In the distance, the people of the Shadowless clan were all stunned. How could they not listen to their ancestors' orders? Immediately, someone rushed over. These were all sages. As they merged into the void, they brought with them powerful killing techniques as they attacked rapidly. They were all elites of the Shadowless clan. Killing a saint of the same level would be a piece of cake for them. At this moment, they attacked together and surrounded Lin Xian. Humph! Acting recklessly, Lin Xian directly opened the dragon's sword's sacred domain. A world enveloped these experts. Inside, sword energy weaved unhindered in all directions. Those people cried out miserably one after another, hacked apart by sword energy. Then even their blood was wiped out.
Roar.
The roar shook the entire Shadowless clan. He Shan's expression changed. This old fogey broke the things I set up. I'm afraid that some supreme elders and living fossils will appear. As soon as he finished speaking, a figure appeared behind Lin Xian. The light in the figure's hand was too terrifying. It was like a heavenly blade that slashed over. Lin Xian threw a punch with the back of his hand. His fist was like a true dragon, bursting with power. With a bang, the two collided. Lin Xian's arm was sent flying, while the figure retreated. However, to Lin Xian's surprise, the other party's body did not split apart, which meant that it was a supreme elder. Fortunately, this old fogey seems to be afraid of your eye technique, so that roar just now only released a portion of them. There are about 3 or 4 supreme elders. You should be able to deal with them. You can deal with them. You're too unreliable. Hurry up and think of a way. You can't let the others wake up, Lin Xian said with a frown. At the same time, he attacked. Indeed, this time, for supreme elders were resurrected, and they attacked crazily. Not only that, but the other powerhouses of the Shadowless clan also formed formations. One killing formation after another pierced the 9 heavens. The 4 supreme elders also formed the killing formation of the 4 divisions. It was an extremely terrifying formation. In addition to the strength of the 4 supreme elders, the combined killing intent pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 lands. The terrifying killing intent was unimaginable. In an instant, Lin Xian was enveloped by the killing formation, and he felt great danger. Humph! He snorted coldly. On one hand, he activated the heavenly secret divine eye, firmly locking onto the Shadowless ancestor. At the same time, he roared. The spear of destruction in his hand shot into the sky, turning into a dragon-shaped sword chi. The terrifying power caused the entire world to tremble. The sword chi collided with the killing formation.
Boom. Boom.
Lin Xian was hit, and many cracks appeared on his body. Golden blood flowed out, but the other party was more seriously injured. Under the powerful sword chi, the killing formation of the 4 divisions kept trembling. The rebounding force caused the bodies of the 4 supreme elders to split into pieces.
Ah!
They roared and reassembled their bodies. But they were destroyed 7 times in a row. They were seriously injured. Killing formation of the 4 divisions change. The 4 supreme elders roared at the same time. At this moment, they all burned their bloodlines. Clearly, for the sake of the patriarch, they had to kill the enemy in front of them. At this moment, everyone's hearts beat wildly. The aura of the killing formation of the 4 divisions was too terrifying. Everyone in the 9 heavens and 10 lands was trembling. Lin Xian also felt a great sense of danger. His eyes flashed with a cold light. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. He took out the great sage pagoda, held it, and threw it forward. He had already put the Great Sage Pagoda away, although he couldn't use the Great Sage Pagoda's terrifying power. But using the Great Sage Pagoda as a weapon was no problem for him. The Great Sage Pagoda was like a giant mountain in his hand. He swept it in all directions. This was a Great Sage artifact. Its power was incomparably terrifying. Just by relying on its strength alone, it wasn't something that any killing formation could resist. One hit. The killing formation of the 4 divisions was shattered into pieces. The 4 supreme elders were reduced to mincemeat. The second hit. The third hit. Lin Xian swept across all directions. Countless members of the Shadowless clan were affected and turned into a bloody mist. They were completely annihilated. The rest fled into the distance, trembling. It was too terrifying. With the power of one person, he had almost overturned the entire Shadowless clan. Perhaps Lin Wudi was the only one who could do this. Boom, boom, boom. Damn it, the weapon in his hand is a Great Sage artifact. It's too scary.
Run.
The 4 supreme elders roared. However, they didn't run. They only let the ordinary disciples escape. The 4 of them charged forward again. They were determined to save their ancestor, even at the cost of their lives. Chapter 30, 462. Lin Xian scoffed. He pulled out the Great Sage Pagoda and threw it at the 4 of them. Suppress them. The Grand Sage Tower was filled with an incomparably majestic aura. It was so majestic that it directly pressed the 4 Grand Elders to the ground. The 4 Great Elders' bodies shattered, healed, and shattered again.
Just like that.
They had been completely suppressed. Lin Xian scoffed. He turned to look at Patriarch Shadowless. But the next moment he frowned. They must be tired of living. He realized that the people who had run away were charging at him again. Their expressions were ferocious. What was going on? Were they not afraid of death? Even the Great Elders had been suppressed by him. These people from the Shadowless clan were no match for him. Kid, something's wrong. Look, the girl you subdued is coming too. This is an illusion. Patriarch Shadowless had used an illusion in the market. He had controlled the entire Shadowless clan. Lin Xian glanced at Patriarch Shadowless and saw black flames dancing in his eye sockets. The people around him also seemed to have black chi around them. They had been controlled. Since he wanted to bury his entire clan, Yi Futian would fulfill his wish. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He waved his hand and sent out the 5 elemental law. It wrapped around Hua Feiyu and pushed her out. Hua Feiyu's body trembled. Her body recovered, and her face was filled with fear. She did not know why, but she had gone completely crazy and wanted to charge at Yi Futian. Now she knew that it was Lin Xian who had saved her life. She knelt respectfully on the ground and prostrated herself in the distance. The people around her were not so lucky. They charged at Yi Futian like wild beasts. Do you want to die? I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian waved the Great Destruction Spear in his hand, sending out countless sword chi that swept in all directions. These people were all cut into pieces. Blood splattered everywhere. The entire Shadowless clan was filled with corpses and blood.
No.
The 4 Great Elders were suppressed on the ground, but they did not die immediately. When they saw the scene, they went crazy. Their hearts were about to shatter. The elites of their Shadowless clan were falling rapidly at this moment. These people could not block the sword chi at all. In an instant, more than half of them were killed or injured. In the end, those people all fell, and only the 4 of them were left alive. Of course, there was also Patriarch Shadowless. They were all going crazy. Was it worth it to let so many elites fall for an old ancestor? Foolish fellow, your clansmen, your descendants are all dead because of you. Do you still want to resist? Lin Xian put his hands behind his back and looked at Patriarch Shadowless. Shadowless ancestor looked extremely ferocious. Damn brat, who the hell are you? Why are you targeting me? As long as you tell me the secret of Jiang Huanqing's resurrection, I can consider sparing your life. Lin Xian said coldly. Don't even think about it. I won't tell anyone. At first, I thought you were sent by them. Now it seems that you're not with them. Since that's the case, I don't have any scruples. I will kill you completely, no matter the cost. Patriarch Shadowless roared crazily, and the entire ancestral land shook violently. The ground cracked in the distance, and a black formation spread out. The altar and the black coffin shone with a demonic light. What's going on? What happened? Hua Feiyu turned pale with fright. The 4 Grand Elders were also terrified. This is the 8 Demon God formation. This was the most terrifying formation of the Shadowless clan. It was built with the entire Shadowless clan as its foundation. It would not be used until the last moment. Once it was used, the ancestral land would be reduced to ashes. One could imagine how terrifying this formation was. The 4 Supreme Elders' eyes were filled with fear. They had never thought that their patriarch would actually go crazy.
Boom, boom, boom.
The 4 elders were pale. They knew that even if Lin Xian did not kill them, they would still die. They would not be able to survive. Patriarch Shadowless floated in the air, laughing wildly, like the Grim Reaper. Kid, this is a competition between you and me. Once the 8 Demon God formation is activated, nothing can stop it. You will die without a doubt. Now, go to hell for me. A terrifying voice rang out as 8 figures appeared around the spell formation. It was as if they had been summoned from the depths of hell. The 8 figures were very terrifying. They were the essence of the 8 Demon God formation. The 8 demon gods could destroy the world. Moreover, the 8 Demon God formation had been nurtured with the power of the clan for countless years. It could be said to be terrifying to the extreme.
No.
The 4 Prime Elders screamed miserably, and one of them exploded into a bloody mist. The others exploded one after another. They wanted to scream and run as if they had gone crazy, but in the end, they were destroyed by the killing formation. Once the Demon God formation was activated, it would kill everyone, regardless of friend or foe. Lin Xian's expression became serious. How ruthless this old madman was. Black Mountain, do you have a solution? Lin Xian asked. Motherf *Ker, how dare he activate the 8 demonic gods formation? But so what? He was only a sage king when he was alive. I was a supreme sage when I was alive. This time, I will definitely kill him. Black Mountain was also angry. He said, I have heard of the 8 demon god formation and have never set it up before. Therefore, I definitely know the flaw of the 8 demon god formation. If you do as I say, you can definitely break the formation. Lin Xian nodded his head as a resolute light burst forth from his eyes. Black Mountain said, the 8 demon god formation mainly relied on the 8 demon god phantoms. To kill the demon god phantoms, the order could not be wrong. Otherwise, the 8 demon gods would be resurrected infinitely. They could not be killed at all. In the end, those who were trapped would be refined alive. Therefore, the order could not be wrong. Kill the 4th demon god first.
I know.
Lin Xian found the 4th demon god phantoms in an instant. The great destruction spear in his hand was like a black mountain, slashing down from the sky.
Kill.
The 4th demon god phantoms roared crazily. Murderous intent filled the sky. It was like a real demon god, charging quickly. At the same time, the other 7 demon phantoms also moved. This was a fatal blow. Lin Xian used the Kuan-Peng movement technique and dodged quickly. His target was only the 4th demon god phantoms.
Boom, boom, boom.
He passed through everything and arrived in front of the 4th demon god phantoms. His attack directly caused the sky to collapse. The 4th demon god phantoms was forced to retreat. It opened its mouth and spat out a demonic sound wave. Countless demonic chi in the sky turned into a pitch-black rain of swords, piercing through the void and piercing towards Lin Xian.
Die.
Lin Xian snorted coldly and split the rain of swords with his sword. Not only that, the 4th demon god phantoms was also split in half. Lin Xian roared to the sky like a peerless god of war. Who was next? The 7th demon god phantoms. Black Mountain transmitted his voice. Lin Xian chased after the seventh demon god phantoms like a dragon. Soon, the seventh demon god phantoms was also killed. Next, it was the third demon god phantoms. Old Ancestor Shadowless was very calm at first, thinking that the other party would definitely die. But gradually, his expression changed. Chapter 3463. In the end, he screamed like a madman. How was this possible? When Lin Fan had killed the fourth demonic shadow, he thought it was just a coincidence. But when Lin Fan killed the seventh and third demonic shadows, he felt that something was amiss. This was the correct sequence to break the formation. How could Lin Fan break it? How was this possible? This was an extremely ancient formation. He was sure that no one else knew about it. Who was Lin Fan? How did he know about such an ancient formation? Could it be that it was also an extremely ancient monster? Had he somehow come back to life? He didn't dare to imagine it. While he was in a daze, the last demonic shadow screamed. Lin Xian had pierced through it and nailed it to death in the air. The 8 demon god formation was indeed terrifying, but Lin Xian was strong. He also had the dragon sword soul and Heishan, who was proficient in breaking formations. Therefore, the speed at which the array formation was deciphered was extremely fast. After breaking the formation, Lin Xian didn't attack Patriarch Shadowless directly. Instead, he went to the altar. With a single strike, he had destroyed the altar and shattered the black coffin into pieces.
No.
Damned brat! Patriarch Shadowless screamed like a madman. The black altar and black coffin were very important to him. Now that they were destroyed, he felt like the end of the world had come. He knew that he couldn't wait any longer. He had to escape. He turned and ran. But how could Lin Xian let him escape? The golden eyes in the sky shone even more strangely, covering the sky. 2 golden vortexes flew toward Patriarch Shadowless. No! Patriarch Shadowless was so scared that his scalp went numb. He was most afraid of the golden eyes. As expected, the death aura on his body was dissolving at an extremely strange speed. His body was also gradually shattering. Even the reincarnation orb in his body was exposed. Lin Xian grabbed it with his golden hand. Tell me your secret, or I'll destroy the reincarnation orb. I'll tell you. Patriarch Shadowless trembled and knelt on the ground. Don't crush the reincarnation orb. I'll tell you everything. Very well. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Heishan was also impatient. However, at this moment, Lin Xian's palm was repelled with a whoosh. The reincarnation pearl actually emitted countless black flames that covered the sky and covered the earth, enveloping the entire space. Shadowless Ancestor screamed in agony. His body was engulfed in black flames and burned rapidly. His soul was completely obliterated. Damn it! Lin Xian roared. He wanted to save Shadowless, but it was too late. The black fire was too eerie and terrifying. Not only had it killed Shadowless' forefather, it was also flying toward him.
Get lost.
Lin Xian shouted coldly, raising his hand and slashing a few times. The terrifying sword Qi could destroy everything. However, when faced with these black flames, they were actually unable to extinguish them. Those black flames were actually able to block his sword Qi. This made him extremely shocked. What kind of flame was this? What exactly was this reincarnation pearl? The terrifying black flames enveloped Lin Xian. Outside, Hua Feiyu was dumbfounded. Was their forefather dead? Was Lin Xian also in danger now? She did not know. In the distance, there were still some people flying over. When they saw the mess around them, it was as if they had been struck by lightning. They all knelt on the ground, trembling. The Shadowless clan was very big. What had been destroyed was the core area. There were also some people from the periphery rushing over. At this moment, when they saw the scene, they all went crazy. Lin Xian did not pay attention to what was happening outside. He now felt a great danger. These black flames were too terrifying. His 9-yang divine body was about to be refined. Damn it, It was even more terrifying than his 9-yang divine fire. What kind of flame was this?
Boom. Boom.
The 9-yang divine body trembled like thunder, causing the 4 seas and 8 desolations to shake. However, these black flames were not destroyed. Was this the legendary Yama fire? He Shan exclaimed. Yama flames?
What is that?
Lin Xian gritted his teeth and asked while resisting. The legendary flames of the 18 levels of hell could only be displayed when one opened the gates of hell or opened the 6 paths of reincarnation. This reincarnation pearl was indeed related to reincarnation. What? The flames of the 18 levels of hell? Lin Xian was shocked. No wonder it was so terrifying. Damn it, destroy it. He frantically activated the great dragon sword spirit and began to destroy the Yama fire. But at this time, the heavenly secret divine eye suddenly turned, forming 2 golden vortexes, crazily dancing. And the surrounding black Yama fire was absorbed by the vortexes. Kid, you want to forcefully absorb these flames? You might go blind if you're not careful. He Shan exclaimed. Lin Xian said. Damn, it's not me. This eye was operating on its own. He was shocked. He originally thought that the heavenly secret divine eye could not withstand it, but he did not expect that the black Yama fire was absorbed by the vortexes and did not explode with any power. In an instant, the black flames that filled the sky were all absorbed. The golden vortexes slowly turned and then formed mysterious runes, blooming with light. Kid, is there something wrong with your eyes? He Shan's voice was anxious. Lin Xian felt for a while and found nothing unusual. Other than a slight swelling pain and heat, there was nothing else. He could still use his eye technique to see very far away. Lin Xian felt for a while. Indeed, his eyes were a little painful, but it was not serious. It was like a normal fire, and this kind of pain was negligible to him. Your eyes are too strange. Kid, where did you get this pair of eyes from? Li Xian said. I got it by chance. It's called the Heavenly Secret Divine Eye. I got it from a person of the Heavenly Secret race. What? Heavenly Secret Divine Eye. Heavenly Secret Race. He Shan sucked in a breath of cold air. I understand now. No wonder you can absorb the Yama fire. What was going on? Could it be that the Heavenly Secret Race was related to the Yama fire? Lin Xian frowned even more. These should be ancient secrets or even ancient secrets that had long been lost. The other sages did not know. It was even more impossible for him to know.
He Shan said.
Kid, I have heard of this matter. The Heavenly Secret Race was an extremely terrifying race. Their origins were mysterious, and they were not inferior to the Dragon Race, Qilin Race, and other top 10,000 ancient races. In fact, they were even more terrifying. The people of the Heavenly Secret Race all had a bloodline, and that was eye technique. However, their eyes were very special. They could only be opened and activated under certain circumstances. Once activated, the power of the eye technique was unparalleled. Not only that, their eye technique was more powerful the more they used it, and could even evolve in the end. It was rumored that the Heavenly Secret Ancestor had a pair of reincarnation eyes. At a glance, the 6 paths of reincarnation could let you live or die. It was truly terrifying. Chapter 30, 464. What? The Rinnegan? Lin Xian was shocked. So powerful. That ancestor Tianji, was he also a great emperor? I don't know if there was a great emperor in the Tianji tribe, but the first ancestor Tianji was said to be an immortal. What? Immortal? Lin Xian was even more shocked. Immortal? Wasn't that something countless people dreamed of? Even great emperors yearned for it. However, whether there were immortals in this world was still a mystery, because no one had seen it before. In the end, even great emperors felt despair. Now, the first ancestor of the Tianji tribe was an immortal. Then wouldn't his Rinnegan be an immortal eye? These were all legends. No one knew if there were immortals. However, this was enough to show that the Tianji tribe was extraordinary. Even if ancestor Tianji wasn't an immortal, he wouldn't be any weaker than a great emperor. As for the reincarnation sword, it was said that one of the first ancestors' eyes turned into a divine sword. It was very terrifying. This reincarnation pearl was related to reincarnation. Perhaps it was related to the reincarnation sword, or the Rinnegan eye. And you have the Tianji divine eyes. That's why there is such a connection. So that's how it is. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He didn't expect his Tianji divine eyes to have such a history. He already had the great dragon sword soul of the 5 swords of the world. The reincarnation sword was also related to him. There was also the heavenly punishment sword, which was related to the Sikong family. He also had the Sikong Great Sage's Great Sage Pagoda. He had to admit that it was really strange. If you put it that way, the Yama flame should have been absorbed by the Tianji divine eyes. He didn't know if he could use it. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He tried to communicate with it. The golden runes in his eyes rotated slowly. Suddenly, a black flame flowed out. Whoosh! When the black flame appeared, it instantly burned the void in front of it into nothingness. So powerful. Lin Xian was shocked. He didn't dare to use it too much. Although he had the Tianji divine eyes, the Yama flames were too terrifying. After using it for a while, he felt a little pain in his eyes. It seemed like he could only use it as a killing move. Lin Xian felt that this Yama fire could burn a 3rd heaven sage to death. This gave him another powerful trump card. He Shan also said, "Kid, make good use of your heavenly secret divine eyes. If you can use more Yama flame, you can even burn a true Saint King to death, let alone a 3rd heaven saint." Lin Xian was overjoyed when he heard this. However, he knew that the current him did not have the strength to do so. This was because if he did not control the Yama's fire properly, he would end up burning himself. But no matter what, he finally had another trump card. It seemed that coming to the Grand Spill planet this time had been the right choice. Not only did he meet Gu Santong, but he also learned the secrets of the heavenly secret god eyes and the reincarnation sword. Now, he even obtained the Yama's fire. However, Lin Xian still narrowed his eyes. Who had given Shadowless the reincarnation orb to revive him? This was still unclear at the moment. Black Mountain shook his head. Although he had an idea, it was too shocking and he was not sure, so he did not tell Lin Xian. "Young master, are you alright?" At this moment, Hua Feiyu quickly flew over from afar. Her face was still incomparably pale. Lin Xian shook his head and said, "I'm fine." His gaze swept past Hua Feiyu and looked at the surroundings. There were still people from the Shadowless clan around. They had all rushed over from outside the clan. Basically, the elites in the core area had all been killed by him. Although the Shadowless clan had not been completely destroyed, they had suffered a great loss. When Lin Xian's gaze swept over them, the people of the Shadowless clan trembled, and their faces were filled with horror. You actually killed one of our experts." They saw the mountains of corpses and seas of blood around them, and immediately went crazy. "Young master, what should we do with these people?" Hua Feiyu asked respectfully. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. He said, "I don't have much energy to care about the Shadowless clan. However, it would be a pity to throw them away. How about this? I'll leave them to you. From now on, you will be the new patriarch of the Shadowless clan." "Yes, young master." Hua Feiyu knelt respectfully on the ground. "Don't worry, young master. I will run the Shadowless clan well. As long as young master says the word, I will do anything. Alright, you can get up. Next, you can take over the clan's affairs." Lin Xian was ready to leave. It was a good choice to leave the Shadowless clan to Hua Feiyu. As long as they dared to betray him, he could guarantee that their fate would be worse than those who had died. Moreover, he believed that with Hua Feiyu's intelligence and what had happened today, he would definitely not betray him. In this way, it was equivalent to him taking control of a clan. Although it was not certain what he could make the clan do, it was just based on the strength of the Shadowless clan. Although they had suffered a great loss, they still had a lot of resources in their hands. They could regularly send cultivation resources to Lin Xian. When one reached the Sage Realm, The resources needed were even more and more precious. Therefore, there were only benefits and no disadvantages for him to take over a clan. He gave Hua Feiyu a transmission array that could be used to transmit resources. If there was danger, Hua Feiyu could also use this transmission array to call for help. After that, Lin Xian left. He returned to the Gu family. Gu Santong and the others had been waiting anxiously for a long time. To be honest, Lin Xian had been gone for so long that they were very worried. However, when they saw that Lin Xian had returned, they all heaved a sigh of relief. Gu Santong rushed over. "Brother Lin, are you all right? Don't worry, the matter has been resolved. Don't worry, the Shadowless clan will not dare to trouble you anymore." Although Lin Xian's voice was not loud, it was like thunder to these people's ears. The matter was resolved? They could not believe it. One must know that the Shadowless clan was like a huge mountain in front of them. They could not breathe under the pressure. But now Lin Xian had resolved it so easily. Just what level had the other party's strength reached? Was he really unfathomable? After that, Lin Xian did not leave immediately. Instead, he asked for a secret room from Gu Santong and began to cultivate in seclusion. He had just obtained a new flame, Yama's flame. He wanted to study it and master it as soon as possible. Just like that, Lin Xian went into seclusion. However, the storm did not stop. Such a big thing had happened to the Shadowless clan. The entire core area was basically shattered. Such a big shock could not be hidden. Therefore, the news quickly spread. In an instant, the entire Great Yen planet was shocked. The Shadowless clan had suffered a great loss. The core area and elite powerhouses had been killed. Such a big thing was like a gust of wind that swept through every corner in an instant. Everyone went crazy. They could not believe it. The Shadowless clan was one of the top clans. In this world, they were an overlord. How could such a clan be hurt? Could it be that the other top clans had joined forces? Chapter 30, 465. For a time, countless large families and forces went to investigate. They had to figure out what had happened to the Shadowless family. Who knew what was going on? What was the situation now? The Gu family naturally sent out martial artists. When they learned of this news, they immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be that this matter was related to Lin Xian? Their first thought was that this was impossible. Although Lin Xian was strong, he was only one person. The Shadowless family was a huge family with countless experts. There were many saints. How could they be beaten to such a state by a young man? But besides Lin Xian, who else had contact with the Shadowless family, and in such a short time? They didn't know. Although the Shadowless family tried their best to cover it up, too many saints and experts had died. They couldn't hide from the investigation of so many large families and forces. So soon, the situation of the Shadowless family was figured out by those people. For a time, the wind and cloud surged. Tianhe family. It was also one of the large families of the Great Spill Planet. At this moment, in a great hall of the Tianhe family, the patriarch, elders, and many powerhouses were gathered together. Their eyes were filled with excitement and excitement. "You should already know about the Shadowless family," Patriarch Tianhe said in a deep voice. Inside the hall, everyone was grinning from ear to ear. They knew, of course they knew. For some unknown reason, the Shadowless family had suffered a heavy blow and their vitality had been greatly damaged. "Patriarch, this is a good opportunity for us to make a move." "That's right, Patriarch. We have always been suppressed by the Shadowless family. Now we finally have a chance to make a move. We can directly trample the Shadowless family to the ground. This way we can become the top family. From then on, our Tianhe family will become one of the overlords of the Great Spill Planet." The more everyone spoke, the more excited they became. Their eyes turned red. Patriarch Tianhe was calm. He said, "Although this is a good opportunity, we can't be too careless. After all, it wasn't just our family that had their eyes on the Shadowless family. In the entire Great Spill Planet, there were 3 top overlords. Besides the Shadowless family, there was also Flowing Fire Palace and Devouring Sky Hall. Apart from that, there were 5 first-rate forces like our Tianhe family. As for the clans below them, there was nothing to be afraid of. They couldn't benefit from this storm at all, and even if they did, it would be very little. Most importantly, the other 4 great clans and 2 other overlords. The other 4 families must be like us, wanting to take over the Shadowless clan and become the new overlord. But don't forget that the other 2 overlords are also eyeing the Shadowless clan. They also want to strengthen themselves. Therefore, don't act rashly. While the Tianhe clan was discussing their next course of action, the other 4 first-rate clans were also having an intense discussion. At the same time, the 2 overlord forces were also moving in the dark. The people of the Shadowless family were extremely nervous. Before they could recover from the shock caused by the loss of their clan's vitality, many other people appeared around them. There were even conflicts that broke out. For a moment, their situation became more and more dangerous. Patriarch, what should we do? The people of the Shadowless clan all looked at Hua Feiyu. At this moment, Hua Feiyu was their new patriarch, and she had the highest cultivation among them. This was because the other saints and elders had all been killed, either by Lin Xian or by the Shadowless ancestors' 8 demon god formation. It could be said that they were indeed much weaker than the Gu family. Of course, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. The Shadowless clan still had some resources. Other than some dormant living fossils, they still had some formations and forbidden weapons that they hadn't used yet. At this moment, Hua Feiyu sat at the highest position, her expression extremely cold. She didn't expect this. She had just become the patriarch, and now she was facing such a situation. Now, she had 3 choices in front of her. The first was to give up resistance and let the other clans take over the Shadowless clan. She would never agree to this even if she were to die. In that case, there was only one other option left, and that was to resist. However, with their current strength, they couldn't resist at all. The other experts, the other 2 overlords, were not any weaker than them. If they were at their peak, they could still resist. Now that their vitality was greatly damaged, they couldn't resist at all. Don't forget, there were still some first-rate clans eyeing them covetously. If they wanted to resist, there were 2 options. The first was to fully recover their resources and awaken all the dormant living fossils. This way, their current strength would be greatly improved. However, after they were awakened, she wouldn't be able to explain what had happened. She, Hua Feiyu, might be captured by these living fossils and tortured. Therefore, she only had one choice left, and that was to ask for help. She asked Lin Xian for help. Lin Xian had just supported her to become the patriarch of Hua Feiyu, so he wouldn't sit by and do nothing. However, she wasn't 100% sure. After all, this time, they weren't facing just one clan. They were probably the top forces in the entire Great Yen planet. Compared to these clans and sects, the Shadowless clan was much stronger. Would Lin Xian care? It was really an unknown. The atmosphere on the Great Yen planet was extremely strange. Basically, everyone knew that a great change had happened to the Shadowless clan. Their strength had been greatly damaged, and there would probably be a fight next. Those weaker clans and sects, although they couldn't make a move, they weren't idle either. First, they all moved to investigate the news. Moreover, many people were ready to watch a big show. Maybe if they were lucky, they could even reap the benefits. Heavens, what happened to the Shadowless clan? They actually suffered such heavy losses. Could it be that someone made a move against them? Impossible. If it was a battle between top overlords, it would definitely alarm everyone. We didn't receive any news before, so it should be a sudden attack. Could it be that some peerless powerhouse made a move and swept away the Shadowless clan? It couldn't be. The Shadowless clan was an overlord existence. What kind of person could sweep them away? Could it be one of those legendary existences? Everyone was discussing, guessing what the reason was. At the same time, the Tianhe clan and other first-rate clans couldn't help but begin to probe. A great war broke out in the Shadowless clan. Even the first-rate clans began to fight for territory. The flames of war were burning. Everyone's blood was boiling. They knew that this battle wouldn't end so easily. However, to their surprise, after only a few days, the battle stopped. Because the other two overlords had made a move. There were a total of 3 overlords on the Great Yen planet. The Shadowless clan was originally one of them, but now their vitality was greatly damaged. Therefore, the other 2 overlords reigned supreme. Chapter 30, 466. At this moment, the other 2 overlords attacked together. No one dared to resist. They thought that they had no hope. However, to everyone's surprise, the other 2 overlords didn't attack the Shadowless clan directly. Instead, they released a message. Half a month later, the Shadowless meeting would be held to discuss this matter. The world was in an uproar when the news came out. They originally thought that the 2 overlords would directly attack and divide the Shadowless clan. However, that wasn't the case. Instead, they were going to hold a Shadowless meeting. What was going on? No one could understand. However, the Tianhe clan and the other 4 first-rate clans were ecstatic. They knew that only the 5 first-rate clans and the 2 overlords would hold this meeting. It seemed that they were going to divide the Shadowless clan among themselves. Although they were also surprised by this move, they couldn't care less about it anymore. As long as they could strengthen their clans, they had to participate in this meeting. Patriarch, this is bad. The Shadowless clan. The warriors of the Shadowless clan had ugly faces. In half a month, would their Shadowless clan be swallowed up? Hua Fei's expression was also extremely solemn. She knew that there was no other way. She could only ask Lin Xian for help. Therefore, she took out the formation disc that Lin Xian had left behind and sent a message. The Gu clan. At this moment, there was also an uproar, because the things that had happened recently were too shocking. They didn't expect that the mountain in their hearts would collapse like this. Now it was facing the danger of being destroyed. In a secret chamber of the Gu clan, Lin Xian opened his eyes. The black flames in his eyes quickly disappeared. These days, he had been studying Yama's fire. Yama's fire was the fire of hell. Its power was extremely terrifying. His heavenly secret divine eye was related to the Rinnegan. Therefore, he could control Yama's fire. Lin Xian still couldn't release too much Yama's fire. Otherwise, it would be a great burden to his eyes. However, he could already control it stably. In other words, it could be used as a trump card. Currently, he could use Yama's fire to burn a 3rd heaven saint. In the future, as he gained more control, he could even burn a 4th or 5th heaven saint. Thinking of this, he was very satisfied. This time, it was definitely a great harvest. Kid, the Shadowless clan has news for you.
He Shan said.
Lin Xian turned his head and looked at the disc array that was placed to the side. Was there some movement already? Could it be that some living fossil had come back to life? Lin Xian had stayed behind to consolidate his strength. Furthermore, he wanted to take a look at the Shadowless tribe and see if there were any other abnormalities. Who would have thought that his wait would come true? He took out a disc array and sent out a message. There was an anxious voice inside. Young master, this is bad. My Shadowless clan is in danger of being exterminated. Please save us. The danger of extermination? Lin Xian was stunned. He had originally thought that Hua Feiyu's personal safety was in danger, such as being suppressed by some living fossil elder. That was why he asked for help. But now, it seemed like that wasn't the case. It was not Hua Feiyu's personal safety, but the safety of the entire Shadowless clan. What's going on? He thought about it for a moment and understood. It seemed that other clans and forces wanted to swallow up the Shadowless clan. Lin Xian had seen such things many times. He stood up and walked out. After going out and asking around, Lin Xian immediately sneered. As he had guessed, the entire Great Yen planet was surging with undercurrents. He had obtained more accurate information from Gu Santong. 2 overlords and 5 first-rate clans were going to convene a Shadowless meeting to discuss the fate of the Shadowless clan. Lin Xian snorted coldly in his heart. How dare they have designs on the Shadowless clan? Now that the Shadowless clan was already in Lin Xian's hands, how could he allow others to interfere? Shadowless meeting? Fine, he would see who dared to touch his things. Lin Xian thought in his heart and had an idea. Based on the current situation, the Shadowless clan definitely had some hidden resources, but they definitely couldn't use them. Moreover, Hua Feiyu was a smart woman. She didn't use her remaining resources, but asked him for help. It seemed that this time, he had to properly intimidate the other overlords and completely seal off their hidden resources. However, this wasn't enough. After all, too many saints had died in the Shadowless clan. Hua Feiyu alone wouldn't be able to support it. It seemed that he had to find someone for the Shadowless clan to rely on. Lin Xian wouldn't consider the other overlords, and he couldn't stay here for too long. Therefore, after much thought, he thought of Gu Santong and the Gu clan. It seemed that Gu Santong's clan had settled down here for the time being. Although they weren't a top-notch clan, they had remarkable abilities and methods. As long as they were given enough resources, they could rapidly grow. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to let Gu Santong's clan join forces with the Shadowless clan to form a new force. Gu Santong was his friend. This way, he could help Gu Santong, and the resources he would obtain wouldn't be reduced. Moreover, it would be enough for the Shadowless clan to survive for a long time. Lin Xian gradually formed this plan in his heart, but all of this had to be arranged properly. Now, he had to make a trip to the Shadowless clan. He would first comfort Hua Feiyu. Then, Lin Xian set off for the Shadowless clan. The Shadowless clan was very uneasy. Hua Feiyu was even more anxious. However, when she saw Lin Xian arrive, she heaved a sigh of relief. She knew that there was still hope. Lin Xian told her not to worry and that everything would proceed as normal. When it was time for the Shadowless conference, he would accompany her. After receiving Lin Xian's answer, Hua Feiyu completely calmed down. She began to strengthen the clan. Lin Xian once again came to the ancestral land. It had been reduced to ruins, but he still wanted to investigate. The Shadowless ancestors' resurrection was too strange. However, after searching for a while, he didn't find anything. The Yama's fire had burned everything. Even if there were any traces, they would have been burned to nothing. It seemed that if he wanted to know the secret of the Shadowless ancestors' resurrection, he would have to start with the reincarnation pearl or the Yama's fire. He didn't know either of these. It seemed that when he returned, he would use the information he had on the Langus star to investigate. Then, Lin Xian went back to find Gu Santong and the elders of the Gu family. He told them his plan. Gu Santong and the elders of the Gu family sucked in a breath of cold air as they stared at Lin Xian in shock. Lin Gongzi, did you really do this to the Shadowless clan? They were too shocked. They had guessed this before, but they quickly rejected it, because they felt that it wasn't very likely. However, looking at Lin Xian's plan now, it was very likely that Lin Xian was behind it. Chapter 30, 467. As expected, Lin Xian nodded. That's right, I did it. But I didn't expect the situation to change like this. Hua Feiyu's current strength is not enough to support the entire Shadowless clan. So, I think it's better for the two clans to merge and create a new force together. This way, we can continue to maintain our position as the overlord. Why are you helping the Gu clan? The elders of the Gu clan were bewildered. You don't have to worry too much. Firstly, Santong is my good friend. I'll naturally find a way to help him. Secondly, you know that the resources needed to reach the Sage Realm are huge. So, I need a top clan to provide me with resources. When the time comes, I'll only need to take my share. The Gu clan can develop on its own. Hearing this, the elders of the Gu clan's eyes lit up. Lin Xian was right. This was indeed a good opportunity. Given the relationship between young Master Santong and Lin Xian would not cheat them. In this way, they could gain a firm foothold. It would be convenient for young Master Santong to step on the ancient road of the stars again. Alright, let's take a gamble. The elders of the Gu clan's eyes lit up. Gu Santong also said, Brother Lin, thank you so much this time. Lin Xian smiled. Brother Gu, don't be so courteous with me. Let's drink. Since the plan had been made, they just had to wait for the meeting to start. The following days were quite leisurely. Soon, half a month passed. The shadowless meeting was also starting today. The meeting was held at the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land. It was an ancient land. The aura here was very unusual. At this moment, many people had gathered at the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land. The two overlords, the 5 first-rate clans, and the other martial artists were all outside, watching. They could not enter the depths of the ancient land. In the sky, a few spiritual boats rushed over and shuttled through the sky. Soon, they arrived near the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land. Then the spiritual boats all stopped. From inside, figures walked down one after another. Their expressions were solemn as they quickly descended from the sky. They were from the Shadowless clan. The martial artists outside exclaimed in shock. They were originally here to watch the show. Now that they saw the Shadowless clan, they were instantly interested. The Shadowless clan really dared to come. That's right, he was too reckless. If I were the patriarch of the Shadowless family, I would have given up long ago to seek survival. Don't worry, even if they came, it would be useless. They would definitely be wiped out this time. Even if they didn't die, their forces and territories would definitely be annexed. Many of them were from big clans, even though they weren't qualified to enter the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land. However, they were all famous and domineering figures. In fact, several clans had already received orders to humiliate the Shadowless clan before the Shadowless clan entered the Thunder Mountain Ancient Land. He wanted to give them a show of strength. These people were from the Shadowless clan. Hua Feiyu had brought the remaining elite materials over. Even though they were elites, they were still lacking compared to before. Luckily, Hua Feiyu was still confident this time because Lin Xian was here. Not only had Lin Xian come, Gu Santong had also brought along the elites of the Gu clan. Young master. After landing, Hua Feiyu looked at Lin Xian, as if seeking his opinion. Lin Xian said lightly, Next, you can make your own decisions. You don't have to ask me about everything. Remember, you are now the patriarch of the Shadowless clan. Bring out your previous aura. Also, let me tell you a bottom line. You are not allowed to give them a share, nor are you allowed to annex them. Know this bottom line, you can do whatever you want. If anything happens, I will take responsibility for you. As soon as these words came out, Hua Feiyu regained her confidence. She took a deep breath and once again regained her cold demeanor of a queen. Originally, she was a high and mighty fairy and was very famous in the entire Great Yen Star. Therefore, at this moment after she regained her aura, it really made the people around her tremble. Was the legendary cold and elegant little princess back again? But soon they sneered. The current Shadowless clan was no longer the same, so they were not afraid at all. Oh, isn't this Hua Feiyu, Princess Hua? Why did she come so late? Yes, shouldn't she have come early to ask for forgiveness? Someone sneered. Princess Hua, your Shadowless clan is about to be destroyed. Why don't you marry me? Don't worry, I can definitely save your life here. The surrounding people all laughed. These people were also experts, and they were here to cause trouble. They were here to show Hua Feiyu, who was in charge. Acting recklessly.
Slap them.
Hua Feiyu's face darkened.
Buzz.
Someone beside her rushed forward like a ghost and instantly shrouded the front. You dare to make a move? You are really reckless. Do you think your Shadowless clan is still the overlord now? That person sneered and directly slapped down with his palm. The terrifying palm was like a mountain, carrying a powerful force and directly blasted the person from the Shadowless clan away. That person spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. Hua Feiyu's face changed, and the surrounding Shadowless clan members' faces also became incomparably ugly. The other martial artists, on the other hand, burst into laughter. So trash, so useless. Is this still the overlord of the past? It was really surprising. The Overlord had fallen to such a state. What Overlord? Now the Shadowless clan is struggling at death's door, even worse than us. Hua Feiyu, you are not qualified to enter here. If you want to enter, you have to kneel under my crotch. With that person spread his legs and laughed loudly. The others also sneered as they looked at the scene. If the current Shadowless clan was not even qualified to enter the Thunder Mountain ancient land, then they would not have any scruples. Damn it! Damn it! Those from the Shadowless clan were furious. If they were at their peak, these people would have to kneel down when they saw them. They would not dare to provoke them like this. Hua Feiyu's face also became incomparably ugly. To be honest, besides her, the most powerful person was only a sage-to-be. They could not deal with this situation at all, unless she took action herself. But she was the leader of her clan. Unless there was no other choice, she would not personally take action. For a moment, she was stunned. Lin Xian also did not take action. He did not care to take action against such insignificant people. This time, he was here to suppress the situation. He would only take action at the most critical moment. Therefore, he looked at a handsome man beside him. Santong, it's up to you now. Gu Santong nodded, and a flash of light appeared in his eyes. He looked at a middle-aged man beside him. When the middle-aged man saw this scene, he directly walked out. You're tuning into the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.